Welcome to our first post-Easter live stream of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave. Cheers. It's good to be back.
It is.
Yeah, and I'm Jeff. How you doing?
We are back again, folks. Hopefully you've all had a nice Easter break. There's going to be a bit of a different stream tonight because we wanted to take it a bit easier. I'll get to details why, because I've had a hectic couple of weeks. I know we've had a couple of weeks break, but there's been reasons for that. But yeah, it's been pretty manic on my side of things, so I decided to take it a little bit easier this week. We still got plenty for you, don't worry about that, but just a bit of a different flavor on things. So tonight we're going to be talking about, obviously, the new Metallica album. That has to be getting a bit of a chat about that one. It's always fun to go over those ones. We're going to actually go we've got some notes going all around. Awesome. I don't know if Jeff's got any prepared for this one, but Dave and I have got a couple of I'm tired of the term guilty pleasures, the things you're supposed to feel guilty about enjoying. It's like, no, fuck that. They're innocent pleasures. They're things that just make you fucking happy. So some different music to check out that doesn't quite Hard Rock Show mold, but we're going to do something for that as well. We're going to talk about new music from Ghost and Extreme as well. We're going to hot topic on touring a little bit later on too, and the gig plug, all the usual shit as well. So make sure you get in the comments, say hi, give us your thoughts on anything and everything as we go along, ask questions, all the usual shit that we like to do as well. And while we're here, everything you want to there are links to everything we're talking about in some way, shape, or form as a reference track, whatever else in the episode description as you tune in. It's one either live or later on. And we'll also be sharing things in the comments as we go through this live too. In that same description box, you've got to find all of our details. So find us on your preferred social platform and give us a follow and hit that like button and share it around and all that sort of stuff. It always helps us a great deal. And while you're doing that sort of stuff, check out our fantastic sponsors. A big thank you to Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt and Rockstar Finance as well. Give them a like or a follow. That'd be greatly appreciated too. Every little bit helps them, which helps us in turn as well. Like, so there's a fair bit to get through. We've got a lot of people in the comments, which is fantastic to see, by the way. Thanks, everyone, jumping in. So Nicole is saying good evening and welcome back. Yes, we're back. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us. It is always late when we start, but it's one of those things that we just, we always take our time getting things sort of rolling as we go through. Sonia's here saying, hi, guys. Hope you all had a great and well-deserved break. Thank you very much. Hopefully the same for you as well. Michael's here saying, hi, all. Good to see you as well, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. Same with Terry. Terry saying, hi, guys. Good to see you too. Dean's here saying, hey, lads. Hope all is well. Everything is good. Hope the same for you. Conrad's here too saying, hi, guys. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. We'll get you more involved very, very soon too because we've got the concept stuff coming through. Sally's joined us over on YouTube as well saying, hey, guys. Thank you for jumping in. Good to see you as always. Same with Dean. He's, we said before, but yeah, he's saying Metallica, which has got everyone excited. Darren's here saying, hey, yo, good to see you, buddy. Hope keeping well out there. Vinny's saying, welcome back, lads. Hope you're all feeling holy after the Easter break. Well, holy in one way, and not that one, I'm sure.
Zombie day, man.
Luke's here saying, rock on, as always. Same to you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well as well. And Robbie is here saying, hey, gents, hope to see you at a local gig soon. That'd be nice. Scheduling might preclude that for me in particular, but hopefully we'll get some of us out there too. But hopefully you're keeping well and still keeping on strong out there too. Alrighty, let's do the rounds. Oh, hang on. Jolie's here as well. So Jolie's saying, hi, guys. Glad you all had a safe Easter. To add Metallica rocks. He got to go, but my break's over. I'll do a catch-up on the show when I go home. Rock on like you all. Well, nice. Thank you for jumping in, and good to see you as always. It's nice. I know that I don't know what you do for a living, but obviously you have your break whenever we sort of go live, which is always fun to see. But hopefully enjoy the show later on whenever you can, but thank you for jumping in and saying hi in the comments there too. Good to see everyone here with us tonight. Alrighty, we'll keep saying, acknowledging the comments as we go through. But yeah, for now, let's do the rounds. Dave, how was your Easter break? How have you been?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Had a week off on the first week of the school holidays, so that was last week. So I took a week off work, so no work to worry about, and just spent time with my family. We did a whole bunch of cool stuff. Had Easter, obviously. The kids got their chocolate, and I ate half of it. But no, I didn't eat their chocolate. I ate my chocolate. And went out to dinner with a mate. His daughter had a birthday, same age as Jade, roughly. So, yeah, we all went out. That was a fun night. So kids had a great time, and then we all went back and got beers. Yeah. And then family went out and saw Super Mario Brothers movie at the drive-in, which is really, really cool. Jack Black as Bowser is outstanding.
Nice.
And I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but you'll probably hear a song from Jack Black if you haven't heard it already. It's doing the rounds. It's on radio. It's on YouTube. But if you go to see the movie, it just comes out of nowhere where Bowser starts singing. in typical Jack Black fashion. It's fucking hilarious. And
Cool.
me and my kids are giggling for the rest of the movie, and like all the way home we're singing this song. So I'm starting to learn the keyboard. The kids keep playing it and singing it.
Nice.
And Rory's wanted to go bowling for a very long time, so we gave that a try. Cool. And yeah, he was pretty good. Jade won. She kicked her ass. Yeah. Nice. Then Jade wanted to go roller skating, so we did that. I haven't been on skates in over 30 years.
Yeah.
And kids were doing well, so we all did it together. All four of us are like holding onto the side, and everyone's just zooming past us. So we're there for like 2 hours, and Jade got it towards the end. Julia used to skate a lot when she was younger, so Rory was picking it up towards the end. I kind of had it. Then I got overconfident and I fell flat on my ass, smacked my head on the ground. I've had a massive bruise, and it's hurt like hell for the last week. So yeah, it was fun until I hurt myself. So next time we'll probably have to do like the knee pads and the headgear and the safety stuff. And
probably I can just see you roller skating in bubble wrap, Dave.
No, I just used my usual jeans and my battle jacket. It couldn't have been worse. I wiped out earlier, but where you get onto the ring, there's like those little walkway. Yeah, I slipped there and went sliding. My knee went into the side, like an inch to the left.
Ouch.
And I wouldn't be having any more kids, that's for sure. So that was close. That was scary. But apart from that injury, it was fun. And then last Friday, we went up to the Dandenongs. There's a memorial garden, Nichols Memorial Garden. It's a really long walk down, but there's a nice lake down there with trees and shit. So that was cool. Then when we got home, we had a fire pit and stuck some burgers on there and cooked all that up and got a bottle of Jameson's. So yeah, I've had a good week. Except my daughter keeps pranking me. She's figured out how to queue up songs on Spotify. So when we're in the car, I let her play songs on Spotify, which is all cool. But she'll leave some on queue. So if I'm putting on the Metallica album, we'll have 72 Seasons play, and then fucking Wake Me Up Before You Go comes on.
That wakes you up. It's gonna wake you up.
You've got to tell Jade from me, fucking well done. I'm impressed.
Oh, it's brilliant. The world of Metallica, I was like, what have you done now?
That's fantastic. That is amazing. You know that's never going to get old now.
No, it's going to become a thing. But yeah, once she gets the phone, I'm going to prank her back. So it's going to be a running thing. Her birthday, I'll do that. Got to get some daddy revenge. But yeah, been back at work this week, so I'm getting back into the swing of things, unfortunately. But yeah, I've prattled on long enough. How you doing, Jeff?
All right, I'm good. I can't touch a candle to what you've done last week or so. I've done jack shit.
I haven't been able to do much in the last few months, so I just lived it up in 1 week.
That's the way to go. Live like there's no tomorrow, because someday there won't be. And so it's good. No, I basically was off work because I wasn't feeling very well. I was up sick. My mate was here. There was a couple of days where those overlapped, but we really couldn't do anything, and so that's kind of sucked. I caught up on a few books that I had not finished. So I finished them, so I'm good. I pretty much, sit around trying to play Nuno or something on the guitar. That's me on a typical day. And the wrong way to go for that, I tell you.
Man, that's for all of us, mate. It's
more of that later.
Yeah, more of that later.
I put my guitar chops back until I fucked my hand up.
Oh, right. You left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed, normal. Same,
okay.
Normal.
What do you mean, normal? That's normal.
I'm a bit each way. I write left-handed, play right-handed. So yeah, work that out.
Okay. You're right left-handed, but play right-handed.
Yeah, I write left-handed, paint right-handed, play guitar right-handed, bowl and throw left-handed. I'm all over the joint. Completely ambidextrous for most things.
What scissors? What hand do you use scissors?
Either hand. I'm pretty ambidextrous as well. So whenever I'm doing stuff for the first time, I always get confused. I'm not sure which way I'm going to do it. So it's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I'm left-handed, but if I picked up scissors and put them in my left hand, like the paper's bent all over the place. I got to use right hand. Can't know why. It's sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they call left-handed because I'm a guitar player, right? So I'm strumming with my right hand or my left hand. Yeah. But all my fingering is done with my right hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it either.
But it's a
but anyway, boring week. How about you?
It's been eventful for me. I'm actually pretty exhausted, to be honest, at the moment, because we got back from Queensland on Sunday, went straight back to work on Monday. This is after driving back from Queensland. We didn't fly back. We drove back. So a 20-hour road trip. Got here on Sunday, then hit the ground running back to the working week on Monday. Had a good break in Queensland, though, which was always nice to go up there and get away. Didn't have a lot of downtime, working on a few construction things and bits and pieces up there with my brother-in-law, or brother and sister-in-law, their little farm property up there. So we're helping out with some things, but it's always nice to get away and do that. Bit more on that a little bit later on, but yeah, it's a bit of fun to get away. But when you're literally trying to build massive fucking things and you're hammering and nailing and doing all this sort of carpentry stuff, it's just sort of do that for a week, then come back and work the following week without really any downtime between. It's like, I'm looking forward to, I could potentially have a 4-day weekend coming up because of the Anzac Day, Eve Day, just not really being a productive day. So it's like, cool, I'll just maybe have 4 days and just sort of try and just take the foot off a little bit, just to give myself a bit more composure again. But no, everything's good. I can't complain. Everyone's happy, healthy, well. Jody says hello to everyone as always. I don't know how many people out there remember Jody, but yeah, she's always here and always says hi to everyone. And yeah, but everything's good. Everyone's happy, healthy, well. We're going to catch up with the kids soon, all sorts of stuff too. So yeah, everything's good. Because yeah, now getting back into the swing of things, and yeah, there's a few bits and pieces are going on. So I'll update a few things as we go through the episode tonight. What do we got here? So Vinny in the comments has said, speaking of feeling holy, Dave, I went to church during that weekend. After the service, the priest approached me and said I was the prettiest guy in the congregation. I was touched. Here we go. Dean says, did you guys hear about the Foo Fighters single out and the new album soon? Sounds good to me. Sorry, Dave?
I did hear there was an album coming. I didn't know there was a single out.
Yeah, no, the single's out. It was released today, I think. And it's actually not bad. I mean, it's not a heavy rocker, but it's pretty poignant. I think you can pretty much tell pretty quickly that it's all about Taylor and his passing, because I forget the name of the song. Actually, I can pull it up. It's called Rescued, but the subject matter of the song, the lyrical content is, yeah, pretty not intense, but yeah, there's a certain level of emotive weight to it. So yes, definitely, I've checked it out. It's a mid-paced sort of rock song from the guys, nothing too barn burning or anything like that, but it's a nice song and it's very well done. And as always, Dave sings his ass off on it. So yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what the new album sounds like with the new drummer. I don't know who the new drummer is, to be honest. I don't know if it's Dave doing the drums on the album right now or what's going on with that, but we'll soon find out in due course, I'm sure. But no, interesting little song there. Have you heard it, Jeff, at all? Or
no, I haven't. No. Okay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big. I love the Foo Fighters. I really do. Particularly the one album, "Wasting Light."
Wasting Light's the best work. Yeah.
For like a year, I drove around. I did not change the CD on my car. It was just like in there constantly.
Yeah, I've ripped on Foo Fighters a bit over the years, but that album's a fucking stunning release. So you got to give credit where it's due. That one's fucking great. What else we got here? Michael says, Dave Movies, new version of Salem's Lot out tomorrow, 21st of April. There you go.
Nice.
That'd be a thing.
Cool. Who's in that?
I don't know. First I've heard of it, Michael. So if you've got any more details, put them in the comments and let us know. But yeah, didn't know anything.
There's Crystal Lake starting soon as well. The Friday the 13th prequel TV show.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah,
no, I don't know anything about that either. I lean on Dave for all my horror info.
I think it's called Derry, I think. A prequel to It with the same guy who played Pennywise in the new movies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's coming.
Wow, there's a lot going on in that space, eh?
Yeah.
That'll keep you busy, Dave. When I'm not keeping you busy.
No ideas or anything, but lots of cool stuff happening.
I know, it's not new ideas, but yeah, no, at least they're doing stuff. And they're better at it these days than they used to be. The old rehashes used to be pretty bad. Now they're a lot better than they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rowan's here. Good to see you, buddy. Giving us the horns as always. Good to see you. Guy Incognito. Here we go again. Hello, Rockers. Where have you been the last 2 weeks? We were having an Easter break. We took that. There'll be more info on that for reasons just a little bit later on. But yeah, there's a bit going on behind the scenes, and yeah, had to get away and take care of a few things. So that was why there was a couple of weeks off. It's a bit we're in the unusual position here where, because I'm the producer of everything, it's kind of, if I'm not really available, things kind of fall over. So it's just one of the unfortunate byproducts of just how we do things. It's not a control play. It's just we haven't really managed to work out another way of doing it yet, have we, Dave? I'm always here anyway. It's very rare that I'm not around. So it's just, one of those things. I have to take care of a couple of things over a couple of weeks. So that was there as well. Sally saying, hey, Jody, good to see some love for Jody there too. Vinny says it's about Jason raising a young family.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun.
Before the mask or after? They're two different stories.
Surely it's going to be after. That would be priceless. He's also happy 420 day. Yes, that is for those to celebrate, enjoy it. What do you got? Dean says, I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Grohl is the drummer for the new album for the Foo Fighters, at least. I would think so. That makes the most sense. They've said, see who they can do it live, but we'll see what happens. Still, that'd be an emotional roller coaster trying to pull it off. I can't imagine that. But anyway. Robbie's saying the new Metallica kicks ass. Chockers of strong tracks, no bloody ballads, just the packaging is too flimsy and fiddly. Oh, well, may your rock be loud. We'll get into that one very, very soon. We've got a lot of thoughts to share on that one. Guy says, used from my own biz, so I know how it is. Yes, it is, unfortunately, a bit like that. You know what it's like. Vinny, kids, if you've made a mess, I will kill you. So... and you know the threat will be real too, so there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, are them bells, Jeff, are they safe? Dry?
They're safe and dry. Yep.
The bells aren't going anywhere. We'll have to get them out at some point, just not today.
We should do an unboxing. Yeah.
We should do
one
that.
bell at a time. Unwrap. They're literally still in the box. I've never taken them out.
I know. It'd be interesting to see what happens on the first time out. Yeah, that'd be.
Get it right now if you want. We can just turn it into the Jeff's bell hour. No, thank you.
That's where one bell at a time. There we go. So that would be fun. All right. Let's not today. But I do actually want to do it. I reckon just for the shits and giggles, it'd be fun to set it up and just do it for the sake of it. All righty, let's get into some new tunes first. Let's talk about some new singles that have dropped. And let's start off with the latest from Ghost, which is a little song, which is a cover actually of Jesus He Knows Me, which is from Genesis, originally released 91.
Yep.
That one is, and then so Ghost have gone and put their spin on it, which. Well, they've done it the only way that they can do it. Let's start with Jeff. Have you checked it out?
Yeah. In fact, I saw it as the video dropped. I was doing something on YouTube, and the next thing I saw, 3 minutes ago, this new thing. I'm like, oh, shit. So I watched it, and I recognized the song. I'm like, what the I know this song, right? And it took me a few minutes to realize what it was. Because I love Genesis. I'm a huge Genesis fan, but that's not one of my favorite Genesis albums by any means. We can't dance.
We can't dance. Yeah.
And I watched the video. Now the video, wow, that video doesn't really leave much to the imagination.
No, not at all.
No. Now, while I liked it, I liked the message. At the end of it, I thought, okay, I get it. It's really kicking at it. But in some ways, I felt it was kind of juvenile-ish. I don't know. Maybe that's just me not being an old, grumpy old man, and I don't get along with it. Yeah. I mean, the circle jerk and that stuff, that was just a little bit too much. So if you haven't seen the video, you're in for a real treat.
Well, in more ways than one.
Yeah. So, but I thought they did a really good job on the song. The song, I actually prefer it to the original, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got that heavier edge. It's just got that, it's just ballsier. Yeah. So I'm a fan.
Cool.
Yeah.
For those curious, there's a link in the description. It's also in the comments. You know the drill by now, folks. So go and check it out while we waffle on about it. But Dave, what did you make of the song?
Yeah, this song's a lot of fun. I have not seen the video, but from what Jeff's talking about,
dude, you have to
venture in with caution. I wonder if they got David Ellison as the cameo in that circle jerk.
But the people do it in the dark in the background, so you can use your own imagination there, Dave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I will. But, I know David Ellison's like a passenger. He's got the collar and everything, so it might fit perfectly.
Yeah.
The song itself, I can't help but smile while listening to this. It's got that knowing wink that Ghost have all through their good stuff. It's a fun, upbeat song, like a lot of Ghost songs are, but then the lyrics are fucking twisted, and I love the little angle that they're going for. I have not heard the original Genesis version. I did Google the lyrics. Okay, I'll give it a listen, but I Googled the lyrics, Genesis version. They haven't altered anything. So I don't know if Genesis are doing it as a more serious type song. Ghost just put their flavor on it. So
when Genesis did it was a serious stab. It was released in 91. It was a real shot of conservative American evangelicalism. It was a real big swing at them. Yeah.
Yep. This was not tongue in cheek at all, but Ghosts was, Yeah.
I just love what Ghost did with this. It's just a lot of fun, like a lot of their stuff too. But I definitely got to check out this video. But yeah, this is cool. So, is this coming from an EP of covers? I heard something.
Yeah, there's an EP being released in May of about 5 covers. I think it is. It's due in May, so that'll be.
Yeah, interesting to note as well. So along with the video, like which goes for like 4 or 5 minutes, there was like a 35-minute seminar that was shown right after, which was the priest guy just sitting there talking about religion and shit, and it was just like, what the fuck? It's bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
I haven't seen that bit.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm assuming you could probably find it on Ghosts, their webpage or something. Yeah, have a look. Yeah. It's there. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck they're going for, but this is absolutely bizarre because they're treating it like this is like a real priest, like from the video.
Yeah. That's not surprising.
Yeah, and so he's how like in the United States and stuff they would have these call-in shows where priests would sit there and talk.
Yeah,
that's what it was like.
Wow,
and it went for like 40 minutes.
Your money, you guarantee a spot in heaven and all that shit.
Exactly right.
That's what it is. Yeah.
The Genesis. When was that made? What year?
91 was released.
91. Okay. Yeah, I remember, like, I was in grade 16, you would hear about all these TV evangelists, phone in, pledge your money, and I can guarantee
exactly what this is.
Yeah. And I'll drive my fucking Cadillac or you give me all your money. Whether you're religious on that type of shit is fucking shit.
And people did, these guys were literally driving gold Cadillacs.
Because we're preying on the vulnerable, the people that are scared.
Well, I think that's the ultimate message of the song, and it's funny how it's still relevant 30 years later, kind of thing. And it's the bastardization of what religion's supposed to be about, in my point of view. I think it really has just taken what the ethos and the soul of it, quote unquote, was supposed to be, and just twisted it for profit and power, and which is disappointing. But it's interesting that in 91 it was released, then you got this version today, and it's still so relevant. Now, the fun part about this song is that before we went live tonight, I actually got Jody to A-B, because I'd listened to both versions. I'm going, okay, cool, I get it. But Jody knows the original song from being from the era as well, but it's one of those things where, but she's also a big fan of Ghost, but she hadn't heard this version until I spun it a couple of hours ago. So I'm good at her and going, okay, here, check this out, see what you think of it. And she's straight away picked up on the whole vibe, going, all it's missing is the 80s synth at the start of the song. That's all it was missing, which is funny in comparison to what it actually was about. Then she was like, oh, who is this? Then she heard the vocal, like, okay, cool, gets it, then it's Ghost. Then it gets to the chorus, she's like, hang on, I know this song. And so watching her go through all the motions that Jeff went through, it's actually cool to see it play out. Now, what I love about it is how, when it comes to just the song, how they've managed to add Ghost spin to it. They've heavied it right up in terms of adding guitar riffage and all that kind of stuff to it. But the feel is still so late 80s, early 90s that it's just remarkable how they've done it. Sonically, it sounds great. It's fresh. It's from today. They've heavied it up and they put their own spin in it, but it's so faithful to the original, and especially the melody and the hook of it. And that in its own way has allowed the delivery of the vocals, or the lyrics, I should say, to have a bit more bite, which is really cool. Now, like Jeff, I preferred the Ghost version to the original, but it's funny to listen to them side by side because they're different songs. They sound different, but at the same time, they sound eerily similar. It's one of those things that's really hard to quantify and explain, but just the way they've done it is so well done. It's so faithful, but still also original. It's just really, just from a composition point of view, a rearrangement point of view, fucking hats off. Like, it's so well done. It's not funny. So if this is the caliber of all the songs on this covers EP, well then hell, I'm going to be really looking forward to this little 5-track EP coming up in May, because I really did enjoy this song. The video is hilarious. I mean, the video is absolutely.
That's one way of putting it. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, it's twisted. Don't get me wrong.
And
like Jeff said, there's no room for imagination in this at all. But I have watched a lot worse than this at the same time. So it's like, this is hilarious to me. I think it's funny. It has the right tongue-in-cheek kind of level about it. I know it'll probably offend some people out there, which is fair enough too, because I understand why it would. But at the same time, it's just, I think it's fucking great personally. I love Ghost, and I think they've done a really good job with this one. So yeah, looking forward to the covers EP coming up.
Absolutely.
So if you out there, let us know. Let's get to some comments and see what people have to say about it. Dean says, well, it was a great cover of a classic Genesis song. Very impressive. Big Genesis fan here. So there we go. Even Genesis fans are getting into it as well. But Darren says, meh, so fair enough as well. But Jake, good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. Has given us the horns up there too. So good to see you. Good, thanks for jumping in and saying hi. Alrighty, let's get on to an artist. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you guys heard the song when they did the cover of It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure maybe that, I don't know if they're going to include that, because that was an added, like a bonus track, a bonus couple. It was Avalanche by Leonard Cohen on it as well. Did a great job. So I wonder if they're going to include those as a cover.
Don't know, but either way, their caliber of doing this sort of stuff is fantastic. So I haven't heard of. I know some albums some people like more than others, but yeah, just generally speaking, the actual musicianship and craft applied to these songs is just fucking phenomenal as far as I'm concerned.
Fantastic, yeah, absolutely,
yeah. Jake's giving us a love heart as well. All right, let's get on to one that I know people want to talk about, because we did have a comment on YouTube on this one. Let's talk about Extreme, but because I haven't really covered them on the show, let's talk about all 3 new Extreme tracks. Just for a reference, in the comments in the description, I've just put the link to the latest, or the Tide latest video to Banshee. I chose Banshee out of the 2 that we could have gone with today. They released Banshee and Rebel at the same time. Both videos, both songs, all of it at the same time, about 20-something hours ago now as we do this one. So yeah, just generally speaking though, let's get into it. There's 3 tracks out now from the upcoming album, which is called 6. I forget exactly when it's supposed to drop, but it's not too far away. June. Yeah. So Dave, let's start with you. What do you make of the 3 songs from Extreme that you've heard now from the upcoming album?
Yeah, these are fantastic. If the whole album is like this, it could definitely be a contender for top 5, if not album of the year. This is fucking great to listen to.
Yeah.
Nice.
Production's great. The playing is fantastic. The band sound half their age. They can't be young anymore, but holy shit, they sound good. Excellent playing on all the songs. And, I tend to gravitate towards the guitar solos. And guitar solo, especially in Rise, is fucking great. But the rhythms as well, they have a lot of groove, especially in Banshee. That's just got a great hook. That's a fun song.
Yeah.
And the drum work is fantastic throughout. The vocals sound awesome. At the end of Rebel, there's that killer scream. It's like, that was fucking nice. Out of the 3 songs, I think Banshee is my favorite. But I'm looking forward to hearing a lot more of this, because this band, I don't know, they kind of came out of nowhere, just like, hey, we're back, and these sound fucking good. So I'm excited.
Yeah. It was a bolt out of the blue, which has made this one really interesting to go and check out. But Jeff, what about you? What do you think of him?
Look, I'm frothing at the mouth over this album already. 3 songs.
Sure, you mentioned Nuno at the top of the show.
Yeah. Look, Nuno's always been one of my favorites. I'm not only jump on the bandwagon. I've been a fan of Nuno since the 80s, so late 80s. So when they came around, and he's just a phenomenal player.
He's a beast.
He's a cut above. There's players. And I hate to say this and some people are going to crucify me for this, but now that Eddie's gone, I think as far as guitar players, rock guitar players, he's got to be up there. He's got to be close.
Yeah.
So there's going to be people say, oh no, Steve Vai or Satriani and stuff, and they're great players. But when's the last time? When's the last time Steve Vai released anything that you just thought, fuck, I just got to keep listening to the song over and over again? It's not. He just doesn't. He's a great technical player, but he can't write a fucking song to save his life. I'm not anymore anyway. I'm sorry. I know people are going to hate me for that.
Jeff's coming in hot.
I am coming in hot. So Rise, Banshee, and Rebel. Now, Rise, loved it. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it. Couldn't find anything wrong with it. My favorite song of the new 2 is actually Rebel.
Oh, cool.
I think Rebel just, boom. I mean, it just goes for the balls, and it just doesn't let go. And Banshee, of course, I mean, it's hard to split between the songs. My personal favorite is Rebel, but yeah, I gave, like, if I was to rate them out of 10, Rise 10, Rebel 10, and Banshee a 9.
Wow.
Okay? So that's how much I love these three songs. I think these songs, exactly what Dave said, if the whole album has this energy and this level of musicianship, it's going to be contender for album of the year.
Yeah, no, it's hard to knock these songs. I mean, for the band to come out swinging like this after so long, it's the first album in something like 15 years that's coming out, and it's remarkable how they've just hit the ground running. I mean, what Dave said, all the performances, everyone is fantastic on here. The vocals are smoking. Nuno and his guitar work, oh my fucking God. Well, I mean, what do you want, really? Between that 1-2 punch, you got everything you want. But they sound fresh, revitalized, but you've got that old school feel about it too. They haven't lost where they came from. They haven't tried to keep up with anything. They just sort of brought what they did back then and sort of just refreshed it a little bit for today. But it still feels really organic and feels like extreme. Like, what's not to like about these songs? They're groove laden, got loads of hooks in them. All of them are fantastic. I think out of the 3 songs, Rise is my pick. So I think that gets a pretty good cross section amongst us all here tonight. But yeah, Rise is probably my favorite one just because the way it builds into that fucking solo. It's just, oh my God, that's just a complete Nuno track, and it's just like, okay, it's phenomenal. The one thing that's interesting to me listening to it is that I find the mix interesting. I'm not sold on that. It's not horrible, but it just doesn't grab me the way I want it to, sonically speaking. There's just something about it. Once you settle into the 3 songs, it's all good. Like, you listen to them and you listen to them again, it's like, okay, cool. That you don't really feel anything odd about it. But the first spin, it just feels a bit flat. It's like, oh, because you listen to other albums and you jump back to this one, I was like, oh man, I think I might have missed a trick with just a bit of polish on the production for me.
Could it be, because you're listening to other albums that have been released and they've been mixed and mastered. Could it be that this is the YouTube algorithm and it's just because the compression is dropping them? I don't know.
I've listened to albums and these songs on the same format. So be it Spotify or YouTube, whatever else have you, I've listened to them on the same things. So I'm picking the same problem on different platforms as well. So be it YouTube or Spotify, I'm picking the same problem on each of those things there. So it could just be a taste thing as well. Because I have seen other people comment on the mix. But yeah, to me, it's just it just feels like it's a bit flat, a bit unbalanced. Maybe there's still some fine tuning to do before the album is fully dropped, but I'd find that hard to believe at this point in time. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you just want it to be, how do I put this? After so long away, you just wanted everything about it to just grab you and take you away for the ride. And that just one facet, it's not a downer, but it's just like compared to other things, it's like, I listen for that stuff. Everyone knows I listen to that stuff very, very clearly and quickly, and that's my thing. And so for me, it's just like, oh, bugger. Like, it's good. It sounds good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, just that much. Like, just that much.
So it's like, if only.
I know, and that's the thing that's like, fuck, bugger. Yeah. If only they just put a little more into that. So I want to know who mixed it, because that's going to be an interesting thing for me to go and find and dig out later on, because just the other albums that are coming out this year, they just sound a lot more vibrant and even to me than this particular mix does. But that said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not quite what I would look for to grab my attention the way it is. The performances are great. Songs are great. Everything's just a small little nitpick, but it's one of those things where when it comes down to how much we go, like the songs themselves, yeah, I agree. Everyone says, it could be a top 10 album at the end of the year. I'm going, yes, it could be, but that might just knock it out for me because of the caliber of everything else that goes into making your top 10 list at the end of the year. So it's like, when you start getting down to the finer points, it could be one of those things that just sees it knocked out, which is going to be interesting to see how it plays out at the end of the year. There's a bit of time to go yet. There's time, but yeah, it's just one of those things where, I don't know, but at the same time, it might grow on me. It might be one of those things that once I've settled into it, I go, okay, I get it, and then it'll make more sense. But I just wanted to make a little footnote on that one that, I noticed it the first time I heard it, and then I noticed it again when I checked out the other tracks today, and I'm like, every time I put the song on for the first time, it's like, and it's been every single time, which is, that's a strike rate thing for me at this point in time. It's a consistent impact. So we'll see. I wonder if I'm the only one out there. I have seen other comments kicking around, but I wonder if I'm the only one picking up on it as well. Here we go. Rowan's gone, yeah, definitely keen on the new Extreme album. I'm looking forward to the album, despite what I'm saying. I'm very much looking forward to the album. I think we all are. Dave has joined us saying, g'day, fellas. All the best. I see Alda Mialo. Yes, Genius, rock on. Yes, we're going to be talking about that one a little bit later on. Dave's going to lead the the discussion on that one in particular. Darren says it's a must buy. Nuno is freaking awesome, and yes, he is, and he shows off on all these songs very nicely. Oh, here we go. Rowan says I still have the guitar I bought in the mid-90s because of Nuno. Yes, Nuno is definitely one of the guitar gods of the era. Edge Crushers, good to see you again too. Nuno is a freak. That's good for jumping in one there as well. And Michael's going, yep, agree, Darren, must buy. Darren, another Darren's with you, Jeff. Rebel is an absolute banger. So there we go. And Nicole says, I agree, Jeff. Technically brilliant, but not a songwriter.
I think Steve Vai.
Steve Vai, yes. Conrad says that tour with Living Colour will be superb. Love to see Nuno and Vernon Reid jam out the guitar duel on stage together. I did see that lineup. I wanted to talk on that because that is a fucking beast of a tour. Living Colour are absolutely phenomenal live. Yeah. And the last time Extreme came out, I think every man and his dog that had anything to do with music in this country went to see that show. So that is going to be a packed out house. It's going to be an off the wall vibe in that place. That is going to be a show. So I'm telling you now, I haven't seen Extreme, but I have seen. Well, my dogs are knocking everything
over.
Oh, shit.
Sounds like they just knocked over his cables. Well, Dave. So
we're still here. So how you doing?
We're still here. Yeah. Well, maybe not for much longer. If we do go, guys, we'll be back if we can.
Well, we're still on.
We're still on. It must. Yeah.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. We were just getting good. We were just gonna get. Okay.
I can't wait. No, the dogs decided to get up and wander off, and somehow managed to convert that into knocking everything over, including my internet cable that connects to my computer.
It was priceless because you said the dogs are just about to knock everything. And then just like, you froze.
Wait to watch that back.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to watch that back. I will watch that back. I've already clicked that and go, this is what happens when we go live. I'm going to use that as a short video at some stage. I guarantee it. But, sorry. I was trying to say that the tour with Living Colour and Extreme is going to be off the fucking wall. So go out there and see it. I don't know what I missed. What did you guys talk about while I was dealing with that?
I mean, everything. We talked about the Metallica album.
Music, history.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So wrap the show up now then, yeah? Cool, done?
Tackled the hard-hitting question.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. What do we got?
What the fuck do we do now?
Shit yourself.
I can't wait to see that back. It's going to be fucking great. Vinny says Rebel is my favorite also. I find it took a few listens of Banshee to get into that track. My ear couldn't click into gear until the second verse. Okay, fair enough there. TC has joined us. Good to see you, buddy. He's gone, hey guys, who'd have thought we'd be talking about new Extreme and Winger albums in 2023? Yes, the Winger tracks are pretty good too. So they are, everything's going good. We're getting a lot of the old school bands coming out with some cracking stuff this year. It's going to be a good year. And it's funny how these ones aren't the ones I was expecting at the start of the year, which is cool. So that's the cool thing about it as well. Michael says, mix and mastering is interesting. Should it just be CD quality or MQA files? Depends what you're doing it for. That's the thing about it. Mixing and mastering, you'd hope that by the time it gets to the release stage, everything's sort of, settled and done. It's usually the same mix for CD, for digital, all that kind of stuff. It's just where you get into the vinyl areas that it just becomes a bit differently. You can do your different, bit rates and that for different streaming services. I don't know how much that's necessarily worth it because the method you listen to it through is going to have its own form of compression in it anyway. It's just that when it comes down to it, just for me, it's one of those things where I can have my reference albums and I can hear them the way I hear them on CD or on vinyl or whatever else, and they all sound great because the mixing is appropriate for the format. And I just, as long as it's appropriate for the format, that's all that really matters. And that's what gives you, for me anyway, it allows you to hear what your system sounds like, and that gives you the baseline to quote unquote, grade other things you listen to. Not that I'm an expert or anything like that, but it's just what you pay. Everyone pays attention to different things, and that's just it's one of those things that gets my attention. But it's a weird one when things like that pop up now and then from different bands. I think this is oh my god, I'm assuming that's when the dogs knocked everything over. Rowan says Vi must have lost something because his songwriting on Sex and Religion and the 2 lead Roth albums are top shelf. Back in the day, he was pretty good. But
Absolutely was. Yeah.
Just one of those things. What do we got here? Conrad says, saw Nuno with Extreme at Donington Monsters Rock in 94. Nuno did a solo on an acoustic, and I've never heard an acoustic sound so thick, fat, and rich in my life. He made it sound monstrous. He beat the shit out of his acoustic, even bending the neck to get sounds out of it you have never heard before. That's fucking amazing.
Wow.
That's a cool thick, little...
fat, and rich. That sounds a bit like my ex-wife. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Wow. Here we go.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal the show there. All right, Go ahead. Sorry. Yep.
I might clip that bit too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure she'd love that. Yep.
Wow. Oh,
I don't think she watches.
I don't think so either. And if she did, she's not going to watch after this.
No. Well, she does. You might not ever see me again. So if I never come back, guys, ever, you can mourn my loss. Yeah. I don't know why. I just saw those words thick, fat, and rich, and just popped in my head. Thick, fat, and rich. Yep.
Yes, you're going to give Dave a run for his money on some things. I can see it now in the future. It's going to be interesting. No, Dave. I don't know about that.
I think Conrad's comment deserves to come back up there because I kind of stole its thunder. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. But no, just the idea of seeing Nuno with Extreme in Donington 94 would be fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, 94.
Doesn't matter if it's acoustic or not.
Oh, yeah, he's old.
Yeah. He's as old as dead. No, it's we all are, some more than others. But no, it's a I scrolled through another comment in a second, but yeah, no. Actually seeing, I wonder if there's any footage of that. Actually, that would be cool.
I was just thinking that myself. I would like to see that. Yeah,
if there's any footage, that would be cool to see. What do we got here? Guy says you'll like that clip. I'm not sure which one, but let us know which one. Rowan says, what did they talk about? Oh, you were frozen. They were laughing at you frozen. So there we go. Cool. Yes, TC, I saw this one come through. Nightflight Orchestra announced a tour today as well. That should be good. They are I know that Dave can't stand the Nightflight Orchestra.
I ignored that email when it came through.
I thought you might. But no, that's cool. Jimmy is all over it as well, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get and see that one. They are really, really good. Darren's gone, does she know where you live, Jeff? I would argue probably.
She doesn't, actually. It's funny. No? She doesn't. No, she's never been here. I've kept that secret. Yeah.
Well, you want to now.
Yeah.
What a crack up that was from Dean. So there we go. Nicole says, rumor has it that Donington is cancelled this year due to low ticket sales. Wow. Okay. Have to keep an eye on that one. That's actually going to tie into the conversation we have a bit later on as well. So that's going to be an interesting one to see. Sally's gone, just going to be taken out by his ex. So that's one of those things.
If you only knew. If you only knew.
Yeah. Conrad's gone, it was before mobile phones, but I will look for some footage. Nice. If you can find anything, please do link it. That'd be amazing to see if there's anything out there at all. Could be. There's a lot of. The funny thing is there's more pro-shop footage out there than you think as well when people start digging into archives. There's a lot more out there than you think. So hopefully something comes up of that one there too.
Do you know that Nuno played with Rihanna for like 2 years?
Yeah.
He was her guitar player. I was like, what the fuck? But apparently he said that she was probably one of the best musicians he's ever played with.
Wow.
I don't know if he was just lip service on that one, but hey.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what? If he's out there doing that and he's getting paid a good bit of coin for it, then who can argue? Like, honestly, if you're happy to do it and you're getting paid to do it, then more power to you. I don't care what it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
If you're happy and you're getting paid, do it. It's a funny thing that, John 5 and I saw someone talking, Tracy Guns was talking about what is John 5 doing with Motley Crue these days? He's so much better than them. And
making money.
And Tracy replied, hanging out with mates, getting paid to play. Yeah, well, what's wrong with that? Like, honestly, what are you going to do? Say no?
He was already becoming like this amazing guitar player, but now he's going to be a household name. I don't think John 5 was quite a household name like Motley Crue was, but he's there now.
Or close to it after this, for sure. Dean's got a question. Who headlined that 94 Donington Festival? I don't know. That would be
Dokken. No, it was probably Metallica.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It would be around that time.
It would have been around that time.
All right. Well, interesting. Alrighty, we've spoken about the singles. I'm going to quickly do a bit of a gig plug here, and this is for our good friends over at Alt-Cvlt. And this is all to do with the 22nd of April, which is Saturday. So what's the go, peeps? It's simple. On the day, we are going to have a kick-ass choir belting us some epic tunes. So we encourage you to come on down and enjoy the damn fine atmosphere and help us raise the roof with the sound of our sweet, guttural, or not harmonies. Come celebrate heavy music with us and check out the new Record Store Day exclusive releases available only in store. Now, that sounds like an interesting preamble when you don't have any context. So on the 22nd of April, there is a free in-store event happening at Alt-Cvlt in Frankston. What they have going on there is that at 2 p.m. there is the Heavy Choir of Melbourne, which is, I think, a cappella vocals for a choral arrangement for all these heavy songs. They do songs, I think, from all the major metal. So I think there's Maiden, Priest, and other ones in there as well. But imagine just purely choral arrangements of these classic metal songs. It's going to be really interesting. So they've gone. Limber up your vocal cords. Your fave literal cave of curiosities is ready to hear you roar. Your crew and heavy metal choir bring you an awesome celebration of music and mayhem. Come on down, dress to impress, and help us wail out some much-loved metal tunes while you check out the latest Record Store Day special vinyl record releases. So it's all to do with Record Store Day. It's something different down in Frankston at Alt-Cvlt. They are fantastic people down there. So just go and hang out and have some good times with them because I love those people to bits. They're fantastic. But yeah, Record Store Day is coming up. If you want something to do on Saturday, go and check out the Heavy Choir at Alt-Cvlt in Frankston. That's going to be absolutely fantastic, I reckon. It's a cool place, cool people. There's absolutely... And if you're anything like me that doesn't mind a bit of a choral stuff, then yeah, I would actually be really curious to hear how. I don't have any time, unfortunately, but I would love to go and just hear it to see what it sounds like to hear these songs and those arrangements, because there's a lot of scope for that kind of stuff. Because the old saying is that metal is just classical music with amplified guitars. So strip away the amplification and add the choral vocals to it. It could be interesting, sort of reversing of the effect. So it'd be nice to check it out. Here we go. Conrad has confirmed Aerosmith headlined that one. So there we go. Wow. That would be fantastic too. Lee has put a YouTube link in. I'm not sure what it is. Lee, thanks for jumping in. I can't see what it is in this format here. I don't know if Dave, you want to jump in and try and find out what that link is for. But guys asking, are we going to have the Big Four Fantasy Band today? Not today. Not this time around. We're going to get back into that next week, though. We're going to be resuming normal proceedings next week for sure.
Darren is Castle Donington.
Sorry, what?
The link is the full Extreme concert at Castle Donington.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Well done, Lee. Well done.
Nicely.
I'll be watching that later.
Yeah, that's good. Go through Facebook comments, folks. That's on Facebook. Lee has linked us all up with it. So that is going to be very, very cool to check out. And we've got Darren and Nicole all confirming that Aerosmith headline that one. So that's going to be all around everyone saying Aerosmith. So that's cool. That's still going to be a cracking show. That was pretty much a big of their powers at that point in time as well. So that's nicely done. All right, let's do a bit of a hot topic, considering talking about live shows, and we'll do our innocent pleasures in just a moment too. But the hot topic is interesting that we're seeing this really prevalent rise of artists or bands cancelling tours due to things like poor ticket sales and all that kind of stuff. And not only that, but they're also citing things like the cost of touring has just skyrocketed in the post-COVID world. They're not able to get, I think it was a Machine Head that had the thing where they couldn't get visas for their crew and that, and they just couldn't use the people they needed to use. So everything is becoming a lot harder logistically and financially speaking for bands to go out on the road and tour. It's becoming a real barrier. So I'm curious now, or the question of the day is big international touring basically going to be only for the elite caliber bands out there? So talking about your Maidens, Metallicas, that kind of level of band. And the rest just have to find some other way to suck it up, because we had an interesting little chat by play. You and Tim did in particular, Dave, talking about how, it might end up being that the digital concerts that we had during lockdowns might become the next thing again, because it's just the only way to realistically be able to afford to put on a live show. It might be a thing where it might be easier to get punters to come to you, for example, and you play somewhere near home, and then you film it and stream it and make those things an event, which should be interesting. But Dave, you were having the chat with Tim, so let's start with you. What do you think about this? It's an interesting development over the last little bit.
Seems like another week, another story about a band having to cancel for whatever reason. Machine Head most recently for the not being able to get visas, Anthrax recently because it wasn't financially viable for them to play. They don't mind playing at a loss, but not that much of a loss. I got a mate at work who does EDM and all that electronic shit, and he was going to go up on the Easter long weekend to Sydney to play a festival up there. He was actually going to headline.
Wow.
It's a 2-hour set. At the 11th hour, the organizer said, we've been shut down. The police have been worried about transport for the parking and everything. So even they had permits and everything, the festival got pulled. So even little stuff like that is getting harder and harder to actually have it pulled off. I mean, Bells Festival recently got shut down a few years ago in Sydney. Hear one thing after another about how hard it is for bands to pull off events, and festival packages might seem like a great idea, but then a lot of them are having trouble getting it to fruition and having it completed.
Well, it ties in before about hearing that Donington might be cancelled this year now. So
that's unusual. That's concerning. And as you said, legacy bands, the big bands like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Kiss, Motley Crue. Let's be honest. 10 years, they're not going to be touring. If they are, there'll be very few left. I mean, the youngest big bands are like Foo Fighters and the Chili Peppers, maybe, and they, probably Foo Fighters have years left. But there is that gap because people weren't elevating bands in the whole transfer from physical to digital media. So there is a gap in who was going to take that next step. And then you got a whole new generation that have different ways of doing things. Their audience have a different way of consuming stuff. Yeah. So wherever it is, play from your garage and stream it, which I think might be what's going to happen for the next generation of bands coming through, which for us old dinosaurs who love going to live shows and being with 60,000 other fans in the stadium that enjoy what you like, that might not be the way it's done in the future, which for younger bands that like that old school approach, adapt or die, I guess it's a case of that.
Yep.
Because, even when 10 years ago, when I was finding all these new bands, and it's changed the way that they deliver music, and having to adapt with that is hard because you spend 20 years of your life in one particular way and so many things. But I think as a musician, which I'm not in a professional band or anything, but you have to find different ways. You have to be adaptable. I think that's even in everyday life. That's why I teach my kids. You have to be adaptable. It's the only thing that's going to be consistent in the world is that you have to adapt. Things are always going to change.
Yep.
But it's really concerning because, like I said, it just seems every week there is another band having to cancel. And the world post-COVID, it's hard enough to get people to spend their money to go out to see a show. So, and with all cancellations, people will be, well, I'm not going to buy a ticket to the last minute so I can be sure that it's going to go ahead. And if you do that, there's no guarantee it is going to go ahead because the organisers aren't getting that support. So it's a very fine balancing act, but I don't know what the answer is. But I can see within the next 5-10 years, there are going to be massive changes to the way people consume music, live music, that is. As I said, all the old classic bands that fill stadiums, they're coming to an end. Whether I don't like it, but they are. And I don't know the bands. I think the best option is festivals. A massive
I agree with that.
Strengthening numbers, get a bunch of bands together. And as I asked Tim, he's a bit more aware than I am in the chat, but I don't know whether the bands have to, get their organize their own visas and their own travel arrangements or the festival.
Depends on the terms of the agreement. That there are different ways to do it. Yeah.
So I think you can have big festival organizers that can be more enticing to bands to be able to provide that.
Yeah.
Whereas smaller ones might have bands pull out because they can't provide that on their own. But, that's my limited knowledge on the thing, and it's concerning for an old dinosaur like me.
There we go. I was going to say, well, speaking of old dinosaurs, I see Jeff grinning wryly there in the background. So let's go to the elder statesman. Let's get your thoughts, because I know that Dave was talking about, it's hard to adapt. I imagine it might be even tougher for someone in your position that's seen all these great bands live over the years too.
I've seen a lot of bands. I agree pretty much with everything that, Dave had said in his what he was talking about. It is tough, obviously, for bands because, well, like 10, 15 years ago, we're all consuming information differently than we were, say, 10, 15 years ago. Now it's all coming down your mobile phone.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry about that, making a bang. But, so the idea of, as Dave said, strength in numbers, big festival shows, that's probably not going to go anywhere. Or at least if it does change a little bit, it has a better chance of working as opposed to individual bands. Pulling out of gigs because they can't get, people don't want to go, or for whatever reason, the costs are just too much. And then, of course, remember a few weeks ago, we talked about how, venues were taking bits of the merch. So that makes it even harder. So when you add these things in, it's not looking good for bands of today. And bands of tomorrow, I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer out there that's going to work. I think because we as a society have changed the way we consume. Yeah. Everything's fast food. Everything's fast now. And, and like, I'll touch upon this a little bit later on a different topic, but we don't have as much time to listen to music as we did, a couple of years ago even. It's like life is just getting faster. Now, not to get off topic, but if somebody tells you about this great TV show that you should be watching, you're like, I don't have enough fucking time. There's not enough time to stop watching this to then watch this. So I'm going to have to give up something. And it's the same sort of thing with music and touring and bands. People just don't have the time. So they have to make sacrifices. Yeah. And unfortunately, that comes at the cost of some bands falling through those cracks. Don't know if there's a solution. There may not be a solution. So it just may be you learn to adapt. You do the best you can. And I like the idea of, bands getting and filming and maybe putting that up and people pay a price. How's that any different than a band releasing an album? So I don't know. That's just my. I'm not really adding anything to the the conversation because pretty much Dave said it all.
No, I agree with what you were saying. I'm going to try and spin it to a bit more of a solution-based idea. I'm not sure how viable all this is, but I think it's worth exploring. I think the way to look at this is to look at what works, because you want to know that. I haven't gone through the comments yet, but I'm wondering if anyone's going to mention Knotfest, because apparently from all reports, Knotfest went off. It was a success. It was a sellout, and it was run smoothly. It was an excellently done thing. But what I liked about Knotfest, and I think what made that work, was that how it was a niche festival. It appealed to a certain demographic, a certain fan. I think even the massive diverse festivals, those ones are in danger as well. I think having a slightly more boutique idea to things, playing not, things like the showgrounds, but making it like a festival hall event for it as a rough comparison, downsizing a bit, making a bit more boutique and making it so that it appeals to a definitive group of people that want to be there and people will potentially travel to go to it. I think that works in terms of the festival idea. I think in Australia, things like Download and that are always going to go okay because people will always, treat those things like a mecca and just flock to them. But in other places where, you're seeing American bands can't tour, America or even Europe or anything like that, and they're struggling to get things done. I think that for the next generation of bands coming through, you need to do what happened. Like the points that have been made, Jeff, in particular by you, about the world getting faster and faster, everyone's more and more time poor. We've seen what happened during the pandemic has just really accelerated that process. What was going to take 10 to 15 years has taken 2. So the habits have changed dramatically, and you're not putting the genie back in the bottle. You never do. So I think for bands coming through, be them new or old or whatever else, you've got to go where the attention is. That's the only way to win. Quote unquote. If you're happy to play bars, then cool. If you do whatever makes you happy. But if you want to try and grow your audience, then I think you have to go where the attention is, and that is where Jeff said, and where everyone knows it's on your mobile phone. So I think doing things like having and this is where it'll take time for it to catch up at having small little production companies that are able to come in and do the live stream for you and handle things like moderation if you want it and that kind of interactivity going on. So let's say imagine Orpheus Omega are doing their new EP launch soon. Let's say imagine that they bring a crew in and it's all live streamed and filmed out for the world. So you capture the vibe. It's like what we did during lockdowns where you had bands like Dropkick Murphys put on killer shows, but then this time around you can actually have an audience there to interact with and watch the audience by play as well. And you can make those things so that maybe a fan will only come and see you once or twice in their lifetime as opposed to every time you go to them, but you make it so that, you know, they will come to you versus you having to go on the road. That might be the only way to do it because people are very selective. Like I said, Jeff, people have to make sacrifices for their time. So if you want to do a thing, I think that it's more logistically interesting to look at what you can do to get in front of people, which is where, do those live streams. Then you can package it, release it, and all that sort of stuff as well. You can do it like a pay-per-view or just stream it live for free and then do whatever you want. But all those things are gateways to growing your audience, and it can all tie into things like subscription-based Patreon stuff like we have. And all, there's all those kind of, spin-offs that can come into it to change the way that artists make their money. And I think that in the long term, this could potentially be more empowering for the artist because it takes, unless you're going to be beholden to like Live Nation who have this massive monopoly at the moment, or one of the few that have a monopoly, it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes, because I think this can empower bands and artists to be more in control of their own destiny, to see what happens over the next few years. I think that the bands sort of take this, like there used to be, like the hardcore movement went really well by just hiring out halls, getting their own PA and going nuts in little places all over the joint. This is like the digital version of that now for any band that can sort of make it work for them. So the technology is well and truly available. It's just a matter of people learning and having those skill sets cross over. Maybe the band doesn't do it. Like I was saying, it's very hard to play in the band and have it there. But if you have a crew, you can all sort of work together to make these things happen. So a lot of bands have their own sound or light person these days. Maybe they should, start trying to hook in with people that do the digital side of things as well to sort of coexist and form a symbiotic relationship. I don't know. But I think that's where it can go right, just because that's where people's attention is. People want to be... It's harder and harder these days. Everyone's more time poor. Everyone's more financially poor, especially over the next few years. What we've had coming out of, in this post-lockdown world, it's all very different. Where we got paid to stay home. Now everyone's got not enough to go around. So people are going to be very, very selective what they do. If you can make it so that people can watch you and tune in at home, they'll take that every single time of the week, I think, because that's the best way to get them. And then it's still there when they want to watch it or consume it later on, be it on Spotify or YouTube or whatever else have you. So I think that that's something to consider. It'd be an interesting idea to see which one sort of takes the land grab in that regard first. And I think it's an idea that could work. I don't know. But it'd be cool, for example, to see things like when Knotfest went around. Imagine if they were streaming it as well.
Yeah, like a digital festival that you pay a few bucks and you get that virtual ticket and you can watch.
Yeah. The real thing, and if it sells out, make it an edition for those. Like the Knotfest sold out, so let's say it's sold out. Once it hits the sellout threshold, then it goes to the digital side of things, which could be
it's a cool way of doing it.
Kind of cool for those festivals as well, which I think would be interesting. And in terms of what you're already bringing along, I don't think it's a massive addition in terms of logistics.
Probably have that delay thing where you
you could do
watch it live, because otherwise you're gonna people don't show up, they'll just watch it at home. I know I put it on my fucking TV. Sit back and get some popcorn, and that'd be it.
Yeah. Okay, let's say you film it and release it 6 months later. That can be done as well. Yeah.
Make extra currency.
Yeah. So
did you see that Nightwish have already announced they're not going to tour their next album?
That's right. I saw that too. Yeah, which is an interesting decision being made.
Shame. I can see where they're coming from. They're at that age where they've got families now, and Floyd's just had health problems. He's got a second in the way
too. Yeah, like we're talking about people that have real lives, especially in the highlights of mental health, and everyone's got stresses of their own. It's harder for artists to make living.
Whole thing was, bands make their money touring, so a lot of bands were touring a lot harder than what they would have 20 years ago.
And now it's not viable.
And getting older, so if you have to, why would you?
Any word on when their new album's coming out?
It'll probably be early next year, I reckon.
Okay, cool.
Rough guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting little conversation point. If anyone's got any thoughts, feel free to share. I'm going to scroll through some comments here now. Guy, as always, it's a conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy. It's one of those things. Conrad says, I am all booked in for Donington download in June. I've not heard anything about it possibly being cancelled. First I've heard of it here, to be honest, but we'll see if there's any more information coming out. Nicole says, Sabaton seem to be filling places throughout Europe. Maybe some places just more expensive. I think it also depends on if you're from Europe, it's easy to tour Europe, but hard to tour the US. If you're from the US, it's hard to tour Europe kind of thing. So probably almost like a geolock kind of effect happening here, which is making it a bit more challenging. Vinny says there's always way too much red tape these days for bands to organise a tour, and for those acts that do get through, the snowflakes on TikTok go on the attack because they weren't acknowledged as having identified as a toaster.
He's right.
There you go, Vinny. Yeah. It's an interesting one. The world is very interesting these days. I'll put it that way. Dean says this is a hard, interesting topic. Like to get Brad Mars take on this. Nowadays, it's especially harder since COVID. COVID has made things harder and harder now with interest rates and costs are rising. It's not making it easier for everyone. Whoever is selling arenas and stadiums consider them lucky, I believe. Everyone loves seeing a live band. That's the thing. Yeah. It's one of those... yeah, it's a tough one. Craig, good to see you. How fucking good are the 3 new Extreme songs? Nuno is on fire. They have swagger, and they are the heaviest songs I've ever recorded. Can't wait. We've all just waxed lyrical about those ones. We're all very keen to check out more, so bring on the album. Yes, Lee says, Falling in Reverse cancel shows recently due to missing laptops. Things have certainly changed. That did happen.
Yeah.
It's an interesting world we live in these days. It's not like the old days at all. And these comments here just sort of, even if you don't agree, it kind of shows you how much the world has shifted over the last 10 years, especially over the last 2 or 3. Conrad, I looked at going to Power Trip Festival in the States from London, but it was going to end up costing around £3,000. Fuck! With flights and accommodation. Alas, it was just not financially justifiable, especially when Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Iron Maiden are all playing the UK in the next 6 months. Yeah, you're better off staying in the UK, mate. It's going to be much better for you than trying to get over to the US.
That's a lot of money.
Vinny says, although if Jack Black were to tour, I pay a premium to be the audience and sing along with 50,000 other people to Peaches.
Yes! Fuck yeah! That's the Super Mario Brothers, in case you want.
Okay, there we go.
Cool.
Actually, that makes sense when you think about it too, doesn't it? So, yeah, fair enough. I get it. Yeah. Didn't even think of that until now. Nicole says, we're all getting older too. Say the 80s, or since the 80s, a lot have changed priorities such as family and younger people just don't seem to want to go bands like we used to. There's also more options. Let's be honest here. You got everything in the world is on your phone. You got so many streaming services, be it video, audio. You got still books. You got everything in the world you could want to do. Gaming has changed the way people spend their time as well. So it's just one of those things where unless you die hard about it, people aren't invested when they can just watch it later on, kind of thing. This is the thing. People are time poor and they have a million things they can and want to do. It's just one of those things where if it's more effort and it costs more to do it, people are more likely to tick it and say no next time maybe. It's just how it is. And but back in the 80s or 90s or even 2000s, it was like there was nothing else to do except go out, get wasted, and go and watch a few bands. That was like the highlight of your week, month, year.
And yet that was the best thing you could have done all week. Yep. You know?
Yeah, that's it. Now, though, imagine having that energy to do that, considering how much we're all working so much harder.
I get to a fire pit these days. That's the extent of my life.
Mate, to be honest, I'd rather sit around a fire pit and watch the show.
When you said that, I was envious. I'm like, oh, fuck, I wish I was doing that.
See? And this is the thing we're envious of these days. It's a combination of age, time, finances, all those things. It's just what that is. Dean,
the blind guardian and toasting marshmallows.
That would be cool. And the thing is, right, imagine if you had an interactive stream kind of thing where people could share what they were doing at the time. Like, remember the old WCW Nitro parties?
Yeah.
Imagine incorporating that into, like, the concert. Like, where were you? What were you doing when you were watching this concert kind of thing? Imagine doing that, incorporating the digital fan base into the experience. There's so much scope for this kind of thing, and that would make it like the old school. You'd have a party at home or watching an album or a band or whatever else. People go to cinemas now to watch albums.
Yeah. There's $1 million idea here. We just got to find a way to market this. This is great.
I'm sure there is. I haven't got the time. Someone else to market it. Dean says, on to Jeff's point, everything is now, and everyone's attention span is less as well. I agree with everyone's thoughts on this. Is there a solution? Who knows? We need to get tours and bands, get live music rocking, but it's getting punters there is another issue, especially a new band. That is definitely true. And I've even been watching, local gig numbers sort of slowly diminish. Dave, I think you'd attest this. Very few bands pull the numbers they used to. Even bigger bands like Electric Mary don't pull the numbers they used to anymore. It's just the way the world has moved on. Unfortunately, I don't agree with it, but it's just the way it is. Disagreeing with it doesn't change it. So find a solution, basically.
Right.
Conrad says, look at going to Power Trip. Oh, there we go. No, we just had that one before, so that's cool. Vinny says, time to bring back video hits and I'll happily retire. Well, yeah, we try and do that with our TV show every week. But it's not the hits, we just play new stuff. Dean says, I would pay a digital price to see Power Trip Festival's happening in October in California on a live stream. And that's the thing, too. You could do that. You could geo-lock that so that if you're in the US, or they do it with sports, like baseball is so micromanaged in the US that it's not funny. So you can geo-lock out a particular region and just make sure they can't watch it unless they're going through 10 million hoops of VPNs. And then the rest of the world can chip in a few bucks, watch it from wherever they are in the world. Imagine if the Knotfest thing, you could watch the Sydney show from California and then you could watch the California show from anywhere in Australia. Just as a concept, that would be cool. Make it a global community thing as well. Like, I think that is a great way to look at it too, because you can geo-lock out people that can't watch it if you're in.
You sure can, yeah.
You could, if you're on the eastern seaboard of either country, you can't watch it when it's playing that region. That's just one of those things that you can do. So why wouldn't you?
Sports events do it all the time. The local blackout for that effect. They don't want people staying home. Yeah. They want people to go, right? So they lock it and block it.
That's why we used to have the delay of AFL games. The game would be like an hour or two behind, so you go and watch it live to get the result versus watching it home a couple of hours later when people are already talking about it. So it can be definitely done.
It can.
I think that idea of geo-locking or blackouting an area and then sending it to wherever else in the world, that's a great way to do things. And you can probably even do it as a local band too if you think about it. So make of that what you will. Lee says Megadeth sold virtual tickets to their recent show in Japan prior to their Oz visit. Main selling point was the cameo of Marty Freeman. Money well spent, and that is a cool idea too. If you can make it get a point going to it, you can make it interesting, something that won't see again, kind of thing, or rarely see. That's a good way to do it as well. Having something there that gets people involved and engaged is a good thing.
I think when Dave mentioned that Marty was going to be playing those shows, everybody went, huh? Even I did. I was like, fuck that new Megadeth album, but I was interested, I went and saw them. It wasn't because the new album was hot shit, but I still love the band.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Hardcore fans are hardcore fans. Yeah. The Rustodons aren't going to change. It's about trying to get out to new people and make it more cost effective as well. And this is where you can raise revenue, which might fund those touring as well, if you can do that. So just as a thought, a couple of bucks a ticket, hey, why not? I don't know how much tickets were for that, but if it's like $5, I'm sure plenty of people are going to jump in on that one. Why not? Basher says, encourage people back to concerts by free concerts with up-and-coming bands. Free concerts is a good thing. I agree with that. But the trouble is now we've got a different dynamic at play. Good to see you, by the way, Basher, too. I didn't say hi. But it's just interesting that there's now a bit of a pushback because there are people, and I'm not disagreeing with them, but there are people arguing that we need to have a minimum fee basically for artists to play. It's like, well, that's not viable either. So we've got this big push and pull going on, how much the artist deserves to be paid. But, if it's a free show, who's getting what? Because no one's going to do everything for free, which is the unfortunate side about it all.
Everyone's got their hand out. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's the big thing these days. That's where I think that, the band that does the Wayne's World and can, live stream from their garage, I think they're in a box seat right now over the next 5 years to be able to do something productive. So we'll see what happens. Lee says, no Donington cancellation. Might be mistaken with Dominion Festival in UK with only 5% ticket sales. Okay, that might be where that is. Good. Thank you for pointing that out, Lee. Good to have that in there as well.
It hurt. What was it? Conrad's heart now is beating.
Yeah, I think Conrad's feeling a bit better after that one. Conrad says, I would like to see a festival shown in cinemas worldwide, like with the Big Four, Maidens, Flight 66, Metallica season launch, and the show coming in August being shown in cinemas. That's a cool idea too. They can cinema. Rammstein did their Paris DVD. It's fucking cinematography deluxe. Like, I love it. And I think that's a perfect cinematic release too. You can do things, especially if you're going to a movie cinema to watch it, you're going to get a different experience too, because if anyone's seen the Paris DVD from Rammstein, you'll know what I'm talking about. They did things differently with the effects. And it was filmed live. It was done live, but they did things in post-production just to make it a little bit more theatrical and cinematic and the way it was put together with just different effects. And that didn't take away anything from the show. You knew you were sitting in your lounge room watching it. but it added to the experience in my mind, not took away from it. Some people may not like that. Some people might want the traditional, just give me it all, warts and all. But for me, there are ways to make it work if you're the right band to do it as well. For certain bands, you don't want that, but some bands, it works for them. So there it is. Oh, here we go. Vinny says, after next Tuesday, we'll also be able to watch Collingwood's demise on our mobile phones. Shot fired. Look, honestly, if Collingwood win on Anzac Day, I'm going to die of shock, and I'm a Collingwood supporter. Seriously. With the amount of people we've got out, it's fucked. So if Essendon don't roll us, then Essendon should just fucking get in the bin, as far as I'm concerned. Essendon should roll us on Anzac Day. Now, here we go. TC's here speaking of that. I still love live shows. Southern back and knees don't. That's a problem for all of us. Yeah. A lot of us are getting older, and it's a bit harder to stand up for that long as well. I find it harder and harder to stand up.
I thought I was going to die at Megadeth. My leg, I got a cramp in my leg. Oh, no. And I couldn't walk. And my buddy's like, and like, so this lovely little lass, she come up, she's like, because it was like in between songs, where she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna fucking die." And then anyway, so I thought my buddy's like, "Just walk it off," and I'm like, "I can't fucking walk, you idiot!" I thought I was gonna fall over, literally. And anyway, no. I made a bit of a joke. I said, she looked at me. She was looking at me funny, and her boyfriend were there, and I was kind of trying to make funny of the situation and something like that, and. She said, "Oh, I said, I'm just a big guy or something." And she said, "Oh, you're not fat." And I said, "No. But I got dick do." And she's like, "Dick do?" I said, "Yes, because where my belly sticks out farther than my dick do." I don't think she liked it. She looked at me kind of funny, and her boyfriend kind of went like, "What the fuck?" Then the song started. Then some music started, and I was all good. I was saved by the bell.
Saved by the bell. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. But my legs were fucked. I literally thought that I was going to die. I don't know.
It depends. Like even people that know me know I've been managing back issues for a couple of decades now. And even going to things like I saw Iron Maiden years ago. This is years ago. I saw Iron Maiden. I was, watching, standing. I'm like, I'm fucking fucked. Walking out's hard. Yeah. I can't get at the front and mosh anymore. Those days are well and truly done for have been for ages. But even standing and watching a show is hard these days. Like it's tough. Like sorry, I saw a comment come through. I'll get that in a second. But it's but yeah, no, it is actually harder because you want value for money, but at the same time. It's actually pretty taxing as a consumer to stand there in the person and do it. Like it's good when you're young and you don't care, but when you got to get up and go to work the next day too, it's like even harder. So TC, you got some valid points there as well.
Avantasia on a Tuesday night for 3.5 hours.
You did do that.
Worth every bit of discomfort the next day. That was fucking great. Such a good show. But the people that were on stage were worth every dollar.
Yeah.
It was like an ensemble. So,
but that's the thing too. It's a different show. It's like one of those rare ones kind of thing. It's not like the run-of-the-mill show. So there's a bit of that point of difference makes a difference.
Yeah.
Vinny says, I feel the same about my guts. I like to stand near the toilets myself also in case that silent relief is just the warning shot. But Dean followed up with Dick Do. Now I've heard everything. I guarantee you, mate, you stick with this long enough, you'll hear worse. Oh man, this is going to be a great one. All right, so that is the hot topic for this evening. We've got a bit to get through still. So we're going to be at this for a while. All right, let's get into our innocent pleasures now. Like I said, I'm canning or I'm binning the term guilty pleasures. Oh, here we go. Benny says, "Come on, who doesn't like being crop dusted at a live gig?" Yes, well, everyone likes poor time. Yeah. Rightio. Hey, I'm sure everyone's done it at some point. You just when you got no time to get away or get near relief, what are you going to do? We'll see what happens.
That's right.
Alrighty, let's get into. Oh yeah, that's true as well. Fuck. Anyway, let's move on from that one. Let's get on to our innocent pleasures as opposed to that one. So this is where we're going to talk about things that don't normally fit the hard rock show mold, but we wanted to make it a bit simple and fun this week. So what isn't quite for the hard rock show, but the things that we enjoy. Anyway, Jeff, you did say you had something ready for this one. Is that correct?
Well, I have I guess a bit of a music that I like that's not hard rock or metal. Sure. Yeah. And probably going to get strange looks and stuff. But I'm quite. I don't know if this is in theme of what you were asking, but I'm quite partial to Garth Brooks, and there's an album called "Rope in the Wind."
Is it the rock stuff, the alt stuff, or the country stuff?
No. It's very much country.
Yep.
All right, you're gonna erase this episode afterwards, aren't you, Andrew? This is never gonna go live. Yeah. Oh wait, it is live.
Wait,
oh shit,
this is live. Yes.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
No. I do like Garth Brooks. I can't. All right.
Oh, cool.
I admit it. Something about that album. In fact, I'll tell you what got me hooked up with Garth Brooks. It wasn't like I was out to like Garth Brooks, but I was in the car with my buddy many years ago, and he had because he was playing cassette, and I heard this song, and I was like, "Wow, who the fuck is that?" It was just an amazing song. As it turns out, it was Garth Brooks doing a cover. And the cover, it was a Billy Joel song, and the song was called "Shameless." It's off his Stormfront album.
Yep.
And that was it. I was just like, I had to find out more, and so that's my little guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but this is why I want to eradicate the term guilty pleasure, because no one should feel guilty about doing something that's absolutely harmless, and that's just taking joy out of music. Seriously.
Correct.
Why are we calling it a guilty pleasure?
It's innocent. It is innocent. You're right.
Yeah.
But look, that's Jace.
Embarrassing.
We went from Dick Do to Garth Brooks. I'm sorry, all in one episode.
And let's not forget your early ripper tonight as well. That's going to see you executed.
I might get. Yeah, that's right. That's right. If she happens to be flipping through YouTube, and she's like, "I know that guy." Oh, and then I'm dead. Yeah.
Oh wow, this is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, that is actually pretty much the right idea, Jeff. It's just a case of let's talk about things that don't quite fit the Hard Rock Show that we do genuinely enjoy. It's just a little chance for us to say something that we love ourselves to bits. We've all got different tastes, different things. I will get to the comments in a little bit, but Dave, you're up next, and let us know about your choice for this time around.
Alrighty, my choice is guitar player L. Di Meola, his 1978 album Casino. I've been a big fan of L. Di Meola since I was about 18 years old. Wow. And I could have picked a lot of different jazz or blues guitar players that I love that go back like 50, 60, 70, 80 years. But I went with Al simply because he's the first one outside the rock and metal genre I became aware of. And it was because I had a guitar magazine that had a bunch of Metallica stuff in it, and one of the transcriptions was this guy, L. Di Meola, with Egyptian Dancer, which is the first song on that album.
Speaking of, I should put reference tracks in.
Yes. If you haven't heard this song, it's fucking good if he picks
Egyptian Dancer is the reference track I've got. So that's in the comments now. It's in the description box. There's a live take of it, so go for it.
Cool. So, I'm looking at this transcription. It's in 6/8. At the same time, my guitar teacher around this time is teaching me modes, which are extensions of scales, for those who don't know. So I'm looking at this transcription. I'm like, I'm going to try play this because this looks interesting. I'm at the stage where I could stand in a newsagent and look through a guitar magazine and kind of like memorize a song and go home and play it. Or I can tell if I like a band or not by looking at the transcription. So I thought, this is going to be interesting. It's completely different. So I started learning it. I'm just like, this is cool. So I went and bought the CD, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of there. So this really got me out of the whole down-picking Metallica, thrashy stuff and like the old blues, AC/DC stuff that I was learning. This was a whole different genre that's just opened it up. My guitar teacher lent me a few other of his CDs as well. It was, there's a live in San Francisco with John McLaughlin as well, where they do his Mediterranean Sundance on acoustic guitar, which is fucking phenomenal. But a lot of metal guys I've found in later days that they cite L. Di Meola as a great influence. Kirk Hammett, John Petrucci. If you're a Dream Theater fan and you listen to L. Di Meola, you can see what John's taken from his playing and put into his own.
Yep.
What's different to a lot of players that play electric is everyone palm mutes the heavy strings. L will palm mute the lighter strings, the ones that are higher up, while he's soloing. That's how he gets that staccato sound.
Okay, yep.
The reason behind that is when he was learning as a kid, he was very self-conscious about his playing. He didn't want his family to hear him. So he would cover his playing. So he's got that muted sound all the way through. and he's got such this control of his speed. A lot of people can play fast, but he can just play clean, seamless runs.
Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful. He's playing. There's a lot of other jazz guitarists I like Kenny Burrow and Grant Green, but Al always has just this amazing sound. There's great energy and moods to his songs. Compositions are great. There's like slick changes from, it could be a fast section, suddenly he'll just shift gears, and it's just this beautiful Latin melody. If you struggle with instrumental music, like I know Andrew does a little bit, this is probably a lot more accessible than a lot of people think, because it's composed songs, a bit like Santana, but without the lyrics. I don't miss the lyrics at all. And while Al's a virtuoso guitar player, it's not a wank fest. If you're a young aspiring guitar player, one of the best musicians out there, and definitely someone to check out. But this album is fucking fantastic. I give it 9 out of 10. Egyptian Dancer, Dark Eyed Tango, Senior Moose, and Fantasia Suite for 2 guitars. But yeah, his influence, once you start to learn his style, is spread through so many other mainstream bands. Well worth your time checking out this guy.
See, I actually gave it a spin, Dave. I gave it a few listens, and it's really interesting. Actually, I hadn't even heard of him, to be honest, and maybe a name in passing, but I haven't listened to the music at all until the last few days. And so it was really cool to sort of check this out. It's very much an acoustic built thing with some nice use of strings and orchestra around it, and that flamenco style, that staccato style definitely shine through. But I thought it was actually just really nicely composed music. And there's some nice use of electric guitar in there as well. There's some heavier touches, little accents here and there that make it a bit more spicy. Nothing over the top, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things that it's knowing you, I can see why it got your attention, because it does have all those things. It's got that bit of progressiveness about it. It's got the nice playing in it. The solos serve the songs nicely. Everything is really well written and performed. It's got a nice little. The tone is nice on it too. For a 78 album, it's held up pretty fucking well. I haven't got any formal notes here. It's just me going off the top of my head. But no, I found it thoroughly enjoyable. It's a pleasant listen. It's not something I'm going to go to all the time, but at the same time, that album was enough for me to go, okay, well, there's more that because he's got a few albums out too.
Very long career.
Yeah, pretty prolific. So I was like, okay, well, there's a bit there. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but it's one of those artists I wouldn't mind. It's on my list of like, go and dig a bit deeper into that artist, because as you said, you do a bit of digging, you find out how influential he has been on some big names that we adore as a more contemporary thing for us. But that, it was just a really cool, different experience. And even when I've put it up, I think in the Discord chat today, there was a lot of love for that one going around as well. So I think Belle, I don't know if you're watching Belle or if you're going to tune in later on or whatever, but she was saying she'd never. I think she said she hadn't heard of it, but she checked it out on just it being on the playlist, and she's like, "Oh my god, it was amazing!" She spun it because she's like, "Okay, what is this?" And then she just kept spinning it because she really enjoyed it. So there's a lot of love for it out there, which is cool, and a lot of people like this album in particular as well. So for me, it was just a really thoroughly enjoyable experience. I can't, wax on about it as much as you did because I only listened to it a few times, didn't really take any notes, but just feeling it was it's like a 35-minute album, that one.
Yeah, it's easy to listen.
It's easy to listen to. It flows nicely. Everything's good about it. It's got a great flow. It's just a really nice, solid, acoustic-based album that, no vocals, but the compositions, you don't need it. It's just one of those ones. It's full-blown songs, really well written, that serve everything nicely as a complete piece. And that's what you want from start to finish on an album like that. And I think that live track is a really good sort of representation of it all as well, which is cool. Nicely done, Dave.
Good job.
Now, the funny thing is that Dave listened to mine and then wrote up a full-blown review, which I didn't write a review for any of these ones. I did one for Metallica on, but Dave went and did extra homework. He did extracurricular activities. But this one's a bit beat up. Those who know me well will understand this one, but this is my pick for this little theme, and that's Jeff Wayne's musical version of War of the Worlds. Now, as you said, it's had the crap kicked out of it. I've played this one to death. Got both CDs, got the book in there, got all this sort of stuff. This one I grabbed as an impulse buy. This is the 95 release. I saw it come out and I grabbed it because I know the actual book. I've read the book, the H.G. Wells story. That's what got me into it. So I just saw it going by. I've gone, hang on, there's a musical version of War of the Worlds. I love the H.G. Wells story. It's a double CD, which wasn't cheap at the time. It was a pretty penny, and I went, fuck it, impulse buy. Went and got it. Have not stopped listening to it ever since. It's a phenomenal Phenomenal album. So it's nothing like there's a crossover with the Rock and Metal World with Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy appearing on there. But speaking of that, let's go to Dave, because Dave wrote a massive review on this one. And Dave was telling me before, I don't know if it's in your notes, but he had not listened to this until this. So he's a complete newbie on this one. So Dave, what did you think?
Yeah, I've never heard this. I've been well aware of World of World's story for many years. I knew about the old Orson Welles radio play that caused mass hysteria. Saw the old black and white movie from 1953, I think it was. Actually, one of my earliest memories of using a VCR was setting up to record it because it was playing at like 1 o'clock in the morning and I wanted to see it. And then, of course, the Tom Cruise movie, which even though he's an absolute cunt, he makes good movies. So I'm familiar with the story.
Reference tracking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to do a massive review, but as I'm listening to it, it was entertaining. So I thought I better write some of these thoughts down. It's certainly a different take on the War of the World story and very much a product of the time. I'll say straight out, the disco grooves and the funky stuff really does not suit the story at all. For the majority of the first track, I'm thinking, is this a soundtrack to Starsky and Hutch or Shaft? I completely forgot this is about an alien invasion and fear and devastation. These funky grooves are out of this world. No pun intended. I wasn't sure if this music is meant to be coming from the human side, with people dressed like John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever, running for their lives and doing their best fucking disco moving at the same time. Or is it from the perspectives of the aliens, in which case, why are they so angry and bloodthirsty when they got these funky grooves to listen to? I got absolutely no menace at all. It's a story about aliens from Mars wiping out humanity, and I could not stop laughing through the whole fucking thing.
Oh, no.
These flying saucers decked out with disco lighting, trying to be intimidating.
It just... Like...
What could have been better is if they got the Bee Gees to do that song Tragedy.
Wow.
It's a tragedy, but that's what you need. It is a tragedy that humanity is being wiped out. But no, we got these funky grooves, and the narrator's trying to be all serious and tell the story, and I'm losing my shit. At one point, we got this funky wah rhythm, which is straight out of 70s porn. I mean, it's fucking great.
Oh, you're going...
The music itself is really well done. It just does not fit the story. I mean, the flying saucers in World of Worlds, they're called machines. With the funky wah, they must be a love machine. I'm thinking like Shaft with the whole fucking funky shit happening. And
Dave took Pete right out of context.
Fuck. You got like these spaceships with the mood lighting and the fucking mirrors across the top and a rack of scented lotions.
Dave is confusing this for a cross between Mars Attacks and Rob Zombie's Everybody's Fucking in a UFO. That's where Dave is landing.
What I got because of the music. The music contrasts drastically. And because the story is so old, bringing it into the 70s, it just, it clashes. It's like modern times if they did a musical of Nightmare on Elm Street and have Freddy rapping. That would be the equivalent of these days. Yo, in the Elm Street hood, I'm Freddy. I'm going to fuck with your nightmares, yo. That's the type of shit that would be the modern equivalent. I cannot rap on the spot. Like, I like the idea of recurring musical motifs throughout concept albums. It puts you back into that mood setting, much like a film score. But this mood is a dramatic contrast. I don't get it. I'm guessing maybe it's metaphorical. I mean, the aliens are representing disco, which is spreading from town to town like an epidemic and needs to wipe out humanity. Because we all know disco sucks balls. Okay, it wasn't completely terrible. Okay, once humanity was completely wiped out, the mood does change. It gets better. People die, and this gets better, much like Michael Sweet's career.
Oh, Dave.
Holy
Jeff,
moly.
you're safe now. Wow.
Forever Autumn, about 4 or 5, halfway through, I guess. I know it was a very long listen. Forever Autumn. Finally, the mood actually fits what's happening in the story.
That's a good song.
I can listen to this part and not laugh. I'm sure people at work were wondering what the fuck was wrong with me because I got my earplugs on. I'm just laughing to myself. I could not stop. But yeah, but then all of a sudden, the mood of that song changes. And towards the end of the track, you got like the narrator saying he was separated from his beloved woman, and he sees her on a ship about to depart, and their eyes lock. And it's just a tear-jerking moment, but they've still got this fucking disco music. So I see as they're waving, they're still doing that fucking disco shit. It's supposed to be a serious, heartfelt moment. I just could not stop laughing fucking head off.
Wow.
But the highlight of the album, Spirit of Man, Phil Lynott is fucking brilliant as the priest. I mean, within these 10 minutes, you get a whole sense of his character's history and his motivation. It's brilliantly performed. Phil Lynott, much like James Hetfield, they could be called themselves reciting the terms and conditions of computer software, and they would make it interesting. Their tone of voice just fucking works for anything. There was a bonus track I saw on this list with this song, with Shannon Knoll. I did not listen to it. I have 2 words for Shannon Knoll, not like Degeneration X, but he can suck it as well, but my 2 words are, you wish. You are not Phil Lynott.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Technically, it's great. Composition's great. It's all well performed. Just doesn't fit with the story. It's completely killed War of the Worlds for me. Regardless of if I go and read the book or if I watch the 2 movies, I'm just going to be giggling my fucking ass off. I know it was 1978 and disco was a happening. The kids would have loved it, and their parents would have been pissed off because they would have seen the black and white movie. They would have been like, this isn't War of the Worlds. What is this disco shit? Boomers, you should listen to your fucking parents. As I said, the modern equivalent would have been a rapping Nightmare on Elm Street, but God, that'd be fucking horrifying. Now, if you do want a terrifying audio representation of aliens coming to invade, you cannot go past Wednesday 13, Monsters of the Universe Come Out and Play, which is actually fucking terrifying. That's what you need. I've heard it. I was amused. It gave me a good laugh. I won't be listening to it again, except Phil Lynott. He's fucking awesome. I gave it 2 out of 10. My standouts are Phil Lynott. Holy shit.
Wow.
Well, Jeff, I know you're familiar with it. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, look, I don't know how I can top that. That's no, look, I remember this album. One of my brothers had it on LP, and I remember it, as a kid.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But I mean, I listened to it in the context of 1978, 79, or whatever it was. I listened to it. So the disco theme, that was just normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think of it as disco. It wasn't until many, many years that I even realized what disco was. And by then, I agree, most of it's shit. But there was still some pretty good music that came out of that. But it's a brilliant album. I think. Well, let me just put it this way. Conrad, I know you're listening. If you don't put this on your concept album, you fucking suck, because it deserves to be on that list. Yes, I'm saying it.
Well, that's going to be
it's a great fucking album. It really is. I think it's a concept album. I think it is. Whether you like disco or not, it's the theme of it. The story is just the story of
book. Watch the movie. They don't have.
But the book was written in 1898 or something like that. It's like 100 years by the time they made this thing, and disco just happened to be the flavor of the day. Had it came out today, I'm sure it wouldn't have been disco. It would have been. It would have been
baby metal.
Would have been something. Would have been something. But I think it's a great album, and in fact, I think the opening track is like, with the narrator Richard Burton and that music. Yeah. If that doesn't sell you this album right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like I said, it put me in mind of Starsky and Hutch.
No,
I was not. It wasn't in the world. The world of War of the Worlds.
Dave, and this album are like ships of the night.
I think it's great. So I applaud your selection, Andrew. Good job.
I'm gonna defend this album to the hilt, Dave. I fucking love it to absolute bits. I think you can go jump off you can take a long walk off a short pier. So that's what you can
a ship sailing away from my beloved. Bye.
You can get on Thunder Child and go fucking drown with it. So what I love about it is that, one, like I said, I knew the book, so I was thrilled at how faithful it was to the original 1800s story. I thought that was, and that for me, transposing into the 70s didn't worry me at all, because the narration alone is fucking phenomenal. Richard Burton, I believe, is the man doing it, and his delivery was absolutely wonderful. And the I put the reference track of The Eve of the War in the comments in the description, and for me, that set the tone from the start. And yeah, okay, fine, but I get why people might not like it. It might be harder to get into today as a first time listen, but even for me in the 90s when I found it, it was just really interesting. I mean, I came from a background which celebrated choral music and that kind of stuff too. So my background wasn't exclusive. I was listening to a lot of metal by then, but it wasn't exclusively metal. And so for me, coming from a different background, I was able to appreciate the composition of it. But the performances, the drama in the performances of this was really, really well done. For me, I appreciate things like Phantom of the Opera and Sarah Brighton's performance and that sort of stuff. And so this one reminds me of her performance in Phantom of the Opera, to be honest, back in the old day. I used to listen to those recordings of those shows from way back when. And this, for me, captured... it didn't get you, Dave, but for me, it hooked me. It captured the way the story was delivered in the spoken and the sung lyrics. Delivered the story that I knew and loved so well, just wonderfully. I couldn't get past it. And I think that the nerdy part of me that, see, Dave, where you go off on your horror things, I used to be a complete. This is my whole was the editor of the school magazine moment. I used to go these fucking 24-hour sci-fi film fests at the Westgarth Theatre and all this kind of shit. I used to go to. I loved sci-fi and all that kind of stuff, which is so for me.
Like Jeff Spicoli there when you did that, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You did. You did.
Oh, I can't speak to how well it was done, but it was interesting, and if nothing else. But but that whole, being a high school geek kind of thing was one of those things that just, it gravitated to me toward this sort of stuff as well. So I have just loved it I think performances are great. Yeah. I think it crosses over from the opera to the rock worlds nicely. It's, I think the composition, the arrangement to me is still phenomenal today. I love the arrangement. I love the way it feels. Yeah. I love the energy of it. And I actually like the contrast of the music versus the story. I think that having this really dark and bleak story where, spoiler alert, humanity only win because fucking viruses destroy the aliens. Nothing that humanity did won at all. And it even ends on a bleak note, and that because it's all happening again. It's just one of those things where, for me, the remixes you can take or leave, but the actual story and the way it's performed from beginning to end, especially the second half when the aliens have won, they control the world, and the oolah from the aliens and the way it was used in different contexts and had even different intonations to convey different meanings. It was like they actually captured, like you could never hear when you're reading the book, hearing that oolah cry, which is actually referenced literally in the book. Hearing it actually presented that way, it was like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And then hearing it, when they're sort of starting out, then when they're really triumphant, and then when they're fading away kind of a thing, that sonic space, again, it comes into production, doing things in that sort of world where they're playing with harmonies and layering and different effects and Foley and that, it really got my attention. The way they were using, again, Dave, it goes back to me being really formulated by Queen as well. Like the bombastic nature of this sort of stuff flows into me being a fan of Queen, for example. They're not the same, but there is a link there if you listen to it and you get the energy I'm talking about. And so it's one of those albums that, in all the right ways, it ticks all the boxes for me when I was younger, and it's one of those ones that stayed with me no matter what, because it just was this perfect intersection of different worlds that I enjoyed or lived in either way growing up, and it just sort of hit that spot for me, and I've never gotten tired of it. Like I said, I've beaten the absolute crap out of this, and I've listened to it over and over and over again. I've still got it, and it's one of my pride pieces of my collection of music. I love it to bits. So definitely not hard rock show material per se, but as far as concept execution goes, fuck me, it's up there. It's one of the all-time great concept albums as far as I'm concerned, because it stayed true to the narrative of the book being established, which is actually remarkably hard to do. Treating it like a rock opera, or not a rock opera, but a theatrical piece, made it work in its way for me. And if you can enjoy the old things like Cats or Phantom of the Opera, then I think you'll enjoy this kind of stuff as well. For me, if you haven't checked it out, but you got two different points of view there. Two very different points of view. But
musically, it's good. I like the story. It's just they don't work together. It's like watching Psycho with the Benny Hill music.
That would be funny. There's got to be someone has surely done that. Someone has surely done that.
If someone done a mashup, they need to. Holy shit!
Yeah, that would be amazing. If someone find me a mashup of Psycho with Benny Hill, like, that would be fucking great.
Yeah,
the shower scene.
The album, it makes you think. You know, it's such a. It opens up your mind. Yeah.
It's a thinking listen. It's not a. It's very cerebral.
It's not very passive in that sense, but it's empowering as well. I found the music is very strong, especially the way it starts. You know, that dun dun dun. I mean, dramatic. That up, and that just sends shivers through your body. Yeah, it's amazing.
I loved it. I still love it. It's one of my all-time greats. So there we go.
I'm with you.
It's one of those things that I absolutely adore. All right, I'm sure we got some comments. Let's see what we got in here. Here we go. Back to the live stuff. TC says Megadeth was on Wednesday, and I was stuck before I even got inside the venue. The 10-minute walk from the car park killed me. Well, there we go. Yeah, and that's an issue too. Parking is not. Here we go. Lee says you're soft, TC. I rode my push bike from Eltham to the venue and back. Well fit. I'm not doing that. Basher, when we got to the innocent pleasures, Ali Di Meola, Land of the Midnight Sun, Elegant Gypsy, Casino and Splendido Hotel, my favorites. Big Bad Voodoo Daddies, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Dingoes, music from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Chris Isaac, Forever Blue, and Mr. Lucky favorites. Eric Bibb, the Blues Brothers is cool. Chris Stone, Kingfish, Ingram, Gary Moore, Blues Period, and Sari Scar, Elvis Presley, Alan Parsons. Alan Parsons is pretty cool too.
Yes, he is.
That's a cool list, man. Thanks for sharing what you've got there as your innocent pleasures. That's a very cool list. Nicely done there. Lee says, like Dave's innocent love of Wham on his Spotify playlist.
Yeah. I didn't hear about that tonight.
My yearly listening's been fucked up this year.
You can actually, just so you know, you can actually remove things from your listener profile if you go through Spotify settings. There's a setting for that, so you can find it. T says, Lee, you're fit, I'm fat and old. So there we go. That's the retort. What do we got here? Vinny says, reckon I can get into this, Dave. I belong somewhere in my day-to-day stuff. Good brain food. So there we go. Some love for Ellie DeMiolo, which is cool there. Tisa says, Devo is a big innocent pleasure of mine. 80s pop music as well. Also solo artists like Peter Gabriel and Richard Marx. I love both those vocalists. I think they're fantastic. Well, just Richard Marx.
Peter Gabriel's a legend. I mean,
he is.
Genesis, come on.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we touched on Genesis earlier tonight, which is it's a big circle at the moment.
I had tickets to see him. He was coming to Melbourne. Me and my buddy, we bought these. He was doing these innocent, not innocent, but it was like something in the round where it was like, you know, it was like 200 people, and we bought tickets. The tickets were like $400. Blah blah blah. And we were pumped because, you know, I love Peter Gabriel my whole life.
Yeah.
And about 3 weeks, a month before the show, it was he pulled out and canceled.
No.
And they replaced him with fucking Braithwaite.
Daryl Braithwaite.
Daryl Braithwaite. Okay, I like Daryl Braithwaite, fine, but he's not Peter Gabriel. For fuck's sake, give me my money back.
Yeah, for not that much money.
Yeah, no. So, I wasn't happy. But I had tickets. I wanted to see him.
I think I remember hearing about that one too.
I was about, maybe 10 years ago, something like that. Maybe
I remember hearing about that one. That was a big, what the fuck?
He canceled. I don't know. But Daryl Braithwaite.
Not a suitable replacement.
I like the guy. I think he's fantastic. But it's just not Peter Gabriel. No, it's not worth $400. That's right.
Yeah. Especially back then. Vinny says, Boney M is my guilty pleasure there, like the Pointer Sisters from Wish.com.
That's different.
That's cool.
Vinny, I don't know whether to take you seriously or sarcastically. At any given moment, you take a comment. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? But it's fantastic. I love it. Keep bringing it on. Dean, he's got innocent pleasure for me being anything Nickelback ever released. Yet I grew up with all kinds of stuff, so sometimes artists like ABBA or Kylie Minogue come on, thanks to my parents. Another is John Farnham. That doesn't fit the hard rock theme, but I always listen to him, and especially Whispering Jack scene 3 times. Yeah. That's my innocent pleasures. John Farnham, come on. Who doesn't love Farnsey? Another absolute legend in all music. Vinny says, got me at 70s porn. Debbie goes to war for the world. Well done. Vinny
Hey,
with the
baby,
pun.
we're from Mars and we're going to Uranus.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
oh God, here we go. You'd have loved the telescope bit at the end then, Dave.
Oh,
Conrad has retorted,
Yeah, the
Jeff,
balance
from War of the
is
Worlds is on my concept albums list. I remember it as a
Good
child
job.
when it came out, opening up the gatefold and being fascinated by the artwork, reading the booklet whilst listening to it. I saw the live theatrical musical production of this at the O2 Arena in London. It was phenomenal. That would have been a special fucking experience.
Fucking job. That's awesome.
Well done. Well done. Ah, here we go. Conrad's going, shut the fuck up, Dave. It's prog rock, not disco. Has nothing to do with disco at all. You're a child. Get some taste.
hey, what? Who's did you fucking what? Who the guy who created did the project?
Jeff
It says in
Wayne.
the title. Yeah, he says it's disco.
Who says
It's
it's disco?
He says it's a guy who created it. Says it's disco. It's disco.
Oh, Jeff Wayne. Does he say it's disco? Well, he probably said
says
it in '78. It's disco.
Yeah.
That was just that because it was the thing to get people to buy the fucking
No,
album. That was the big flavor.
No,
of the month.
Bottom line is, I don't give a fuck if it is or isn't. I like it. I think it sounds great.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
And Dave, you're a Kiss fan. You can take your disco and stick it up your ass. You know what they did with
One
disco.
song. One song.
Album, not
Wow.
a song.
That was happened to be the biggest song of their career.
Song.
Was that one song? Yeah,
How big is that song for that band, Dave?
I
Yeah,
reckon it's the
pretty huge.
biggest in their career. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean I could be wrong, but it's up there.
Oh, this is fun and games now. What do we got here? Be told with Dave from Guy. No, Bell has jumped into the stream to see Dave having a massive rant about disco. What the fuck is going on?
You have to rewind.
You'll want to go back, Bell. Conrad says, I agree 100% with you, Andrew and Jeff. Dave hasn't got a fucking clue. Wow, you've got under Conrad's skin, that Dave. Well done. He's also gone, I used to play this in rock metal bars, venues in London, and people loved it, which is cool. But he's also said, innocent pleasures for me. Duran Duran, the Police, the Specials. I think Peter Gabriel might be out here later in the year. I think there is word of that too, but that would be very, very cool.
That would be good. I'd probably go see that if he does come.
Yeah,
I've wanted
that
to
would
see him
be
my whole
cool.
life.
But also, thanks for sharing your little innocent pleasures list there. That's nicely done there, Conrad. Appreciate it. And Vinny, of course, has to have the final word on this. With that virus at the end was gonorrhea.
That fuck anybody up. Yeah.
Alrighty. We have one review tonight, and then we're going to do a few little announcements. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the new Metallica album. In the comments, in the description box, we're going to have a reference track for you, which is the latest video, not the one that's dropping in about an hour from now, but the one that's dropping that did drop today. This is Metallica Crown of Barbed Wire is your reference track. It's not one of the well-known previously released singles. It is one of the deeper cuts, quote unquote, on the album. But that's the one that's the newest release. So we're going to go with that one. So this is Metallica, 72 seasons, 12 tracks, 77 minutes, the 11th studio album from the American band released April 2023 via their own label, Blackened Recordings. Produced by Greg Fiddleman at Metallica HQ in California. 4 singles have been released, including Lux Eterna and Screaming Suicide. This is the second album from the band on their own label, following on from 2016's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. It's been in the works since 2019, this album. It's always a long wait, so let's see if this one was worth it. And Dave, I'm sure you've got an essay, so go for it.
Not much of an essay. It's what, one? Fuck, it's almost 2 pages. So yeah, it's a bit of an essay. I'll try and be quick. Okay, I've been looking forward to this since they started releasing singles a few months ago. With each single, I found them to get better and better. With the most recent, well, the 2 before they dropped the album, Darkness Had a Sun and 72 Seasons, they were fucking great. So I haven't been disappointed with the singles, and there was a lot to enjoy on this album. And for a band that's been around for 40 years, it's always hard to release new music. Everyone has an opinion about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, what they should be, what they shouldn't be. Everyone has a favorite era. I'm just glad one of my all-time favorite bands is still alive and well and making great music. And I've listened to this album through countless times in the past week, and every song has just naturally grabbed my attention and become a new favorite. There is so much on here that's cool. There's a few that I really want to learn how to play as well. I've started learning If Darkness Had a Sun, Shadows Follow, and Too Far Gone. They got some fucking killer riffs in there. They're really, really fun songs to play. It's not the most complex music they've ever written. It doesn't have to be. They have nothing to prove. They've done the right thing by focusing on writing good songs rather than showing how fast they can play. If you've been paying attention to the countless live clips that have recently been released on social media from recent shows, they can certainly still play the old stuff, so they don't have to write similar stuff. I put this on par with Kill 'Em All. There's some pretty simple songs on that album as well. Seek and Destroy is pretty fucking simple, and awesome song though. There's also similar stuff on here. It may sound strange, but this is kind of a combination between Kill 'Em All and Load. I found a lot of the melodic stuff that they did on Load is all through this album. It sounds like Metallica. They're not detuning or fucking around with special effects, or they're not doing anything new. And they did new things with Load and Reload, and people were complaining about that. So they're just Metallica being Metallica, which I'm happy with that. No, it's not a thrash album. Who you expecting it to be? Metallica haven't been a thrash band for a very long time. Get the fuck over it. I like the theme of the first 18 years setting up the way you view the world and how you deal with things. That's a fucking fascinating concept. You can tell James has certainly been in therapy recently. He goes to some very, very dark places in this songwriting. And if you like music as therapy, you'll certainly enjoy these lyrics. If you've been through some dark times, you'll no doubt relate to what he's saying. I think his fucking lyrics on here are some of the best he's ever done. It's very personal for him. So if you can relate to that, cool. I think his vocals are outstanding on this as well. He just sounds like Hetfield, which is cool. Killer opening to the album with the title track. Unlike Death Magnetic, which I think is a fucking amazing album, it doesn't have that build-up. It just gets straight into the 16th note chug. I thought that's a cool, no-nonsense way to open the album. Sounds like Metallica. I don't know how they can just chug on the open E note, which everybody can do, and just make it sound like Metallica. Love the fucking energy in the lyrics to that song. Shadows Follow, probably one of my favorite songs on the album. It's just a fucking cool rock song. As soon as I heard that one, I was just like, I got to learn how to play this. And thank you to people on YouTube that can work shit out in like 5 hours and post it, because you can just jump on and start learning. Very cool groove to that main riff. I love the changes. People are bitching about the solos, but I think Kirk sounds fucking great on this. Yeah, he sticks pretty much to the pentatonic scale, but he usually does. That's what Kirk does. It doesn't have to be complicated. He's done complicated stuff. But most importantly, it fits the song. Okay. Screaming Suicide, very, very dark theme set against an upbeat, energetic music. This is good contrast, unlike fucking disco shit about alien invasion. It doesn't work. You can present a serious theme in lyrics with some happy music behind it. When the music behind it doesn't fit the story, then it doesn't work. It's a clever way to get your point across. It's the old, when you're happy, you enjoy the music. When you're sad, you understand the lyrics. This worked very well. One of the many songs on this album that has some very, very killer riffs behind it. Sleepwalk My Life Away. When I first heard this, I'm thinking that's a fucking tasty bass intro. I really like it. A very cool build up, and it's cool that Rob got some chance to shine on this album. You Must Burn. Nice pace to this song. I like the slower tempo. It's the right place on the album to kind of mix things up a bit. I won't go over every song. People know them, but If Darkness Had a Sun, I absolutely fucking love this song. Absolutely killer riffs. It's pretty open E string with some cool melodies in between. James's vocal deliveries on these amazing lyrics are fucking great. I said when we talked about this song earlier when it was first released, that just put me back in mind of being a really angry, pissed off 16-year-old. It's just like, fuck. James has obviously done a lot of reflection of his life and thinking back to those first times. His life's obviously changed in the past 20 years from when he got married, had kids. Kids are old, moved out, divorced. Big change in life. He's done a lot of work up here, and he's shared it with the world, which big thanks to James. I fucking love it. Too Far Gone. I don't know if it's just following on from the energy of If Darkness Had a Sun, but Too Far Gone's a fucking amazing song as well. Another instant favorite, and there were some really, really dark lyrics on here. The chorus, Too Far Gone, Am I Too Far Gone? Help me make it through today. I love the change at the end. Too far gone, never too far gone. I'm never too far gone to say if I can make it through the day.
Yeah.
You got to have a payoff. So many songs deal with the fucking problem, deal with the angst, the anxiety, the depression. Give me a conclusion. Whether it's right or wrong, happy, sad, I want a fucking payoff at the end. That's how he writes it. In a Moritara, the last song, love the harmonized solos on there. It gave me Thin Lizzy vibe. I was like, yes, Metallica channeling Thin Lizzy, two of my favorite bands. Puts me in my happy spot, man. I put this like a sequel or a sister to My Friend the Misery from the Black Album.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you're kind of continuing all of those themes, but yeah, that's a fucking very cool song. And it's not the fastest song. Metallica tended to end on a fast song back in the old days, but it's a nice little difference for what they do. Haven't been able to get the JB Hi-Fi yet, but I'll be buying the CD. Fuck vinyl, it's too expensive. Old-fashioned CDs complete the collection of Metallica. But I am really looking forward to reading the lyrics sheet while listening to these songs. Not all the lyrics on Spotify. Yeah, I can Google, but fuck it. I'm going old school and getting... I really wanted to get to JB on the day this was released, but it wasn't going to happen. I did that with the most recent Maiden album. I did that with the last Metallica album. Old school bands need the old school treatment, but fuck it, I'm not going a week without being able to listen to this album. It may change over time as I get more accustomed to this, but I get this 9 out of 10. Cool. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how I would rate all the Metallica albums in order.
It'd be hard
the
now.
few recent ones, I fucking love Death Magnetic. I think that is an outstanding album. Hardwired to Self-Destruct is awesome as well. Maybe not as good as Death Magnetic. I'm not sure whether this slots in between the two or underneath Hardwired yet. I don't think they outdid Death Magnetic. And then comparing it to all the older stuff, I just don't know. I'm just fucking glad Metallica is still making music that I enjoy. 72 Seasons, Shadows Follow, If Darkness Had a Sun, Too Far Gone, and In a More Tara are my standouts. But the haters can go fuck themselves. I love this album.
Cool. Just a quick little butt in here. YouTube comments stopped coming through. I'm aware of it now, and I'll be going over and catching up on those ones once we get through the review. So for those tuning in on YouTube, my apologies. For some reason, the interface has crapped out on us here. It's showing my feed coming through, not the reverse coming in. So we'll get to the YouTube comments in a bit. But Jeff, over to you. I think you're muted, mate. Jeff.
Is this where we can put our own words in? We'll put our own words in. Yeah. We all know Dave Mustaine wrote all these fucking songs. He wrote the double bass lines. He wrote the bass. He wrote the lyrics. He wrote the 16th note chug. He
That's
fucking
what I
wrote
think of that album. Yeah.
Whoa. You came back. We lost all your audio there for a minute.
I was filling in for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, you may want to go back to the start because we got you. When you touched the microphone and said, "That's what I think of that album," that's when your audio came back in.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
It was like the Monkey Magic review. Like
Monkey Magic. Well, there we go. I've had a lot of things said about my reviews, but Monkey Magic, that's the first.
I meant visually, not contextually.
Thank you for clarifying. Yes. All right. No, I wrote a shitload about this. Actually, because I didn't know if I was actually going to be coming on the show tonight or anything like that. I was hoping I could come on.
Yeah.
So I messaged Dave earlier. I'm like, hey, if you guys want, and if you'll have me back, I would love to come in.
Yep.
And then of course I'll write something down. So I did. So let me first say, I love Metallica. I have loved Metallica practically since day one. 1984, taking a cassette that was on Metal Blade Records to my school, playing it in the seniors lounge, which I had some friends. I was grade 9, playing that, and everybody was just like, "Who the fuck is this?" No one knew. And I'm just like, yeah, you will. No, I don't know. I mean, I like to think I brought Metallica to my school, but hey, maybe I did.
Cool.
All right, so absolutely. So 72 seasons, right? 18 years of your life. This is the long-awaited follow-up to 2016's mostly excellent Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This album is a long album at 77 minutes and 14 seconds to be exact.
Yep.
But somehow this album clocks in at a full 25 seconds shorter than Hardwired. But it doesn't feel that way due to its poor pacing, long, drawn-out, plodding songs, which definitely need some fat to be trimmed here.
Wow.
Now, more often than not, the songs drag and repeat themselves over and over ad nauseum. Can you tell I love Metallica? So, in short, somehow this album feels like it's outstayed its welcome. Unlike Hardwired, which flies by in comparison. And even though it's a longer album than this. But that is not to say that it's a bad album. Indeed, it does have and showcase a bevy of riffs and groove, which prove that Metallica still knows how to rock. They do. This is, this showcases that they've been around. They've been doing this for over 40 years. They know what they're doing.
Yep.
But one has to ask oneself, what does this album do in 77 minutes and 14 seconds that could have not have done in 60 minutes or less? Guess we'll never know. I give this 6 out of 5 out of 10. And my standout tracks are 72 Seasons, Screaming Suicide, Lux Eterna, Crown of Barbed Wire, and If Darkness Had a Sun. Yeah, I think this album is a bit, like I said, I think it needs some fat trimmed. I'm not hating it, Dave. I'm not a hater. I love Metallica. I just think that...
How many times did you listen to it? Because 5 of your standout songs are singles.
Yeah, I know.
How many times did you listen to it?
Well, so the first song, Lux Eterna, right, happens to be the shortest song on the album. Yeah. And if you go back to the last album, the first single was Hardwired, and that was the shortest song on the album.
Yeah.
So there's a formula there. They're trying to get people hooked into, I think if they had released those other songs as singles, people would be like, geez, I hope there's something better coming, because this is not it, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think the last song on the album,
yep.
Holy fuck. Talk about repetitive. That song is 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Tell me what it couldn't have, 3 minutes tops. It just repeats over and over and over and over and over. Nope. Couldn't do it. I just not a fan of this album. I think Hardwired is better in just about every aspect. I know I'm going to get crucified in the comments, but hey, thankfully I did my hacking. Now they're off. No, that sucks. Actually, I wish they weren't. I just think it's. I think it's, and yet it's shorter than Hardwired, but it doesn't feel that way. It just, maybe it's just me. I'm getting old, cranky, whatever. I don't know. But there's something about this album that just drags for me. And it just feels like repetitive over and over and over again. And it's not necessary. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to tell us? And Lars drumming, yes, it's what he does. It's what Kirk does. It's what James does. You can't take anything away from anybody. But how about showing a little bit of variety? It's the same every song, it sounds the same. It's just me. I don't know.
Fair enough. You're not alone in saying that. A lot of people I've seen just watching it play out, and I've seen a lot of commentary agreeing with you, Jeff. You're not going to get crucified. I don't think there's plenty of people that haven't been hooked by it.
I wanted to love it. I went in there thinking that, this is going to be great. I was every song that they released, for the single, the 4 songs, I was just like, yes, and it just got better and better and better and better. And but listening to the songs, I don't know why they turned 77 minutes and it felt like fucking 72 seasons right there listening to the album. I was just like, when is this fucking gonna end? That's what I felt like.
Okay.
So hey, sorry, Dave. I know you gave a really good review. If I had loved the album, I would have said yes, I agree.
You need to put a song at random and spend a few hours with it.
Well, I think I will listen to it again. I've listened to it 2.5 times. So that's the first time, it's probably not. The first time I had a buddy over, he's like, "Have you heard the new album yet?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "I'm coming over. We'll do a listening party." So we did. We sat around, had a few drinks, listened to that sort of thing. And at the time, I was like, "Yeah," but we were talking and stuff like that. We weren't just focused, right? And I liked it. Then I listened to it again. And I'm like,
going back to the conversation we were having earlier in the night, people don't have enough time to consume music like we used to.
It's true. That's true. I do, and that's true. I honestly think
when they hear a new music from an old artist.
Yeah,
spend some time with it.
But I will. I'm not going to give up on it because I think there's just some really awesome grooves in there, and I love some of the the guitar stuff.
The singles that were released, so the first 4 singles. How often did you listen to them?
Oh, quite a bit. And that's probably why I like
them. And probably why 4 of your 5 stand out.
Absolutely, yeah. So I take your point. The other song, Crown of Barbed Wire, I like that. It's just a cool, and that was not a single. But good song, really good song.
Yeah.
But
Shadow's following really jumped out for me straight away. I thought they were great.
Yeah. Like there's no bad songs on the album at all. There's no bad songs. I don't think there's bad songs. I just think there's overly long, drawn out songs that probably instead of 6 or 7 minutes could have been 3 or 4, and then they would have been like, wow, that was great. I don't know. That's just me.
Yep. Fair enough. Look, I can see both sides of the argument actually pretty easily. And that's why I agree with Dave that you do need to spend time with this album. It's much more rewarding when you do. But at the same time, as original Tim said many times over the years, that if an album takes repeat spins to get your attention, is it really that good from the bat? So I do understand the counterpoint too. That if it doesn't grab you from the start, what's going to drag you back toward the album? So there is, there's point and counterpoint either way in that regard. I don't think anyone's wrong. I think that it's one of those albums that I think Metallica have entered the Iron Maiden phase of their career, where Iron Maiden have done these lengthier albums and they get longer and longer and do this sort of, more drawn out stuff. People are like, fuck, it's not the same thing anymore. Metallica have entered that phase of their career as well. And I don't mind it. I'm happy with it. I don't think this is their best work, but it's a strong album as far as I'm concerned. I do like it. So for me, from beginning to end, this is really, really riff-driven. The length of the songs shows that everything around this is just built for the riff. I think Hetfield won when it came to creating this album. It's all riffs, it's all Hetfield. This is a Hetfield album. Make of that what you will. Now, like I said, it's just that there's the crossover point between these guys and Maiden now, where the tail end albums just get long and people go, it's too long. The critiques that Jeff has made of these ones are critiques that I have heard and in some respects made myself of later Maiden albums as well. So, it is one of those things. I think this picks up nicely after Hardwired, though. This is more groove-based than Impact. It's not so punchy as Hardwired. This one's more groove-based. There is still some good grunt on this one, though. But the impact for this one lies in the lyrics and the storytelling and the vocals that go with it. This time around, you feel like you're getting a little bit more of an introspective view from Hetfield, where usually in the past it's been very third-person, not so much internal, but very external kind of a thing. This one is Hetfield exploring his own soul and his own psyche and, airing some grievances or issues, take it, whichever way you want there. There's some things being worked through on this one. It's a bit of a cathartic release and feels more personal in that way. This is probably the most personal we've ever had him, apart from maybe songs like Mama Said way back when or
Unforgiven, maybe.
Sorry, mate?
Unforgiven,
maybe. The God That Failed would be another one too, going back to his mother and that as well. Those are probably the most personal songs, but even those ones have more allegory. This one feels much more personal. They're still vague enough, though, in the meaning. You can take whatever you want out of them. They're not like direct stories being told, but there's some digging and some venting going on with this one too, which I actually found engaging, along with that sort of hypnotic effect of the riff work on this one. I think the mix is big and punchy on this one. There's some nice depth and space throughout it. It's really well balanced. You can do absolutely everything. It's nice, crisp and clean. It sounds great. There's some nice snap to it, especially on the snare drum. You're not getting any more Sananga snare. I think this has just got a really good, snappy sound to it. The way harmony is used and mixed in on this one too really works well. There's some nice push and pull. The way things come up and down on this one between the bass, the lead, the rhythm and the vocals. The drum's pretty solid all throughout, but the way things push and pull around that is really nicely done. And especially in the ebb and flow on the guitar work, I thought that was really nice too. There's not a lot of tricks being used on this one. There are a few little bits and pieces here, mostly to do with layering and that, but there's some nice grit overall in it. And the contrast between the rhythm and the lead tones, I thought that was really interesting to listen to. Like, you listen to Hetfield's tone, and then when Kirk comes in with the solos, there's a stark difference. And to me, that tonal difference is a nice point of difference, actually. I like the way those two complement each other. And then under that, you've got the bass as an extra layer, which I think is actually really nicely mixed in too. I think this has been really put together. Now, speaking of the bass, the rumble on it, especially in tracks like Screaming Suicide and Sleepwalk My Life Away, there's some real meat on the bone when it comes to that bottom end sound there. For me, like I said, I know these songs are longer, but I actually liked the way they built over the duration. Like, the groove aspect for me, I heard some people say it's a bit more Sabbathy kind of thing, and I do kind of get that, but at the same time, Yeah, maybe not, but it's just that there's a long. These are long songs. I'm not going to sit here and deny that at all. But I know people want more aggression, shorter stuff. But this is who they've been for a while. Going back to Death Magnetic and Hardwired, they've done longer stuff. Generally speaking, I just feel like they've refined it a little more on this release. But I do agree with Dave and Jeff in the context that this album is a grower. The more time I spent with it, the better it got to me. And I think there's enough to get your attention early on. But at the same time, each time you listen to it, you're going to find different songs to get your attention in different ways, which I think is really, really cool about the album. It's got long staying power. It's one of those albums that I think people might not love straight away, but they'll come back to in 5 years and go, oh, hang on, I missed a trick with this one. I think it's one of those albums that people will come back to in time. Everyone's and their dog has plenty to say about Kirk and his work, but I think he serves the songs well. He's fine. He does what he does, and what he does complements the songs. That's all it needs to be for this one. He's not stealing the show, but that's not really ever been him either. At the same time, people want, the Mustaine solos. It's never been about that for Kirk and what he does. So I think that what he does is fine. He's been doing this style ever since Load. So just deal with it by now. It's just the way he plays these days. But this album, with that said, touches on pretty much all eras of their career. It's got little touchstone moments all over this, from Puppets through to today, all across this thing. It doesn't really go before Puppets, but from Puppets on, there's little bits and pieces.
There's a more in there.
Maybe, yeah. Other people have heard that. I haven't, but you and others have heard that. So yeah, there's.
But the main riff of Too Far Gone, and then listen to No Remorse.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, I get that now. Yeah, true. I was thinking when I got to Puppets, there was little parts that reminded me of tracks like Sanitarium with the way that things built and I get it. Ground away at stuff. So, but yeah, there's, again, like I said, there's touchstone moments for everyone to find. Like even on Lux Eterna, people are referencing different eras of the band even on that song alone. So I think that if you're a long-time fan of the band, there'll be little moments here and there you'll find across this album and go, okay, I get where this comes from. And I think it's a nice little compendium, all those little moments across their career. But there's also some nice sneaky hooks in this one as well. These songs for me had a knack of staying with me over time. I think there's really great use of melody on this one, and the space for that to show through is really nicely done too. But the way the riffs and the vocals play off of each other is what really sort of accents this one. In this particular album, it's really well done to me. The writing, while it may not be overly dynamic, which is why I get Jeff's complaint about it, I think it's really solid and it serves the songs well. That said, when you're getting through the album, You Must Burn comes at just the right time. That slow, almost sludgy approach is it is a slower change of pace, so probably not one that people want, but it does change the gear of the album nicely. It's really dark. The use of harmony, that in particular, highlights the darkness in it. The mid-song break, and that was really cool as well. And the bass slides under the guitar work, those bass slide notes were really nicely done on there. And there's enough in that song to show there might be more different stuff in their future as well. They're still exploring here and there to show some things. But that slower song is followed up by the shorter song in Lux Eterna, which is a nice dynamic shift in the way the album flowed for me. That goes into Crown of Barbed Wire, which is a real highlight on this album for me. I really enjoy that one a lot too. That one has really great harmony, and it leans into the darker side again of this album too. This is one of those albums where, for me, you actually get reward for effort when you stick with it, because I think the back half of it has a lot more to show for it than people might expect. They've got some great stuff in there. You got, If Darkness Had a Sun, which I think is probably the standout track on the album for me. But you got Too Far Gone is another one as well. But then the epic closer, In a Marata, I really enjoy that one, Jeff. I think that's their longest song to date.
It is.
They did a really good job with it. That song in particular was a good way to close it out. I love the lyrics on it. I love the way it was a call and response kind of thing, and how it sort of just shifted from verse to verse. It's subtle, and I get why people would say that it's a long one. So, Jeff, I get what you're saying.
It's repetitive, though. It just repeats over and over and over again.
Yeah, I get it. But for me, it was the depth in the subtlety of the lyrics and that made it so it sold me. For me, it got my attention. There's a shift here and there, which is like it's a long narrative, but there's a narrative being built through the story of the song. So for me, the lyric work was what sold that song on me, and I think it's one of those ones where I think that's where the repeat spins. I've listened to this probably between 6 and 10 times now. And for me, that's where it's being able to pay attention to that without having a lyric sheet handy has really made this one sort of grow on. Like, it got me from the start. I'm not sitting and saying I had to listen that long to enjoy it. I wanted to listen to it that many times. It's a case of that. having that depth to it and picking up on the subtleties of the songs, that when you're able to do that after listening to it for a few times, that is what, you know, really won me over on that particular track. But that's it. My next note is I understand why people might find this one pedestrian. I do understand that. I'm not sitting here saying it's I completely get it. But I think that song and the album just locked me in for the duration, even though it's a longer thing overall. I enjoyed it. For me, I come at this album from the perspective of this is a 1% of the 1% bands. Like, there's only 1% of the bands in the world that go anywhere, and only 1% of those actually get beyond anything. You know, like, these guys are like the cream of the crop career-wise.
When they release an album, it's an event.
Yes, these, you know, Hetfield is getting on daytime TV here. Today, still, like that's how big.
Which is great for music. I mean, that's just awesome. I saw them on the project. I'm like, what? You know, this is fucking crazy. You know. Yeah. And he was on the Today Show, whatever he was as well. That's just that's huge. Yeah. That's huge.
So these guys are an event band. So these guys are like the top tier. You know, say what you like about them, they are. But I'm just glad they're still going strong. They could have called this a day how many times over by now, and I'm still glad they're going. I
wanted to touch on that as well. I was just going to say, I think that this might be their last album, and I'll tell you why. Okay, follow me logically. Okay, so their last album was 7 years ago, so 2016. So we got 7 years to get to a new album. They toured on Hardwired for like 3 years. Yeah. So if they go another 7 years, and then they tour for 3, now they're in their 70s. Really? And then they're going to put out an album and then tour another 3 or 4 years, whatever, on top of that. That puts them mid-70s. Really?
I think they can quit touring like so many other bands are, and by then, but it's probably an for bands not to tour.
They need to put another album out in the next 3 or 4 years. They cannot wait 7 years.
No, I think that, well, from everything I've read and seen, just touching on this conversation point, that there are ideas for the next album already kicking around, but they always say that, but they are saying that again. And I think that Lars has said that in an ideal world, they'd like to continue for another decade. So I think another decade sees one more album. I think they'll cap it at 12, and then it'll be whatever they do after that, be greatest hits tours and maybe some songs here or there. And they've got, who knows what they've got in the archives too. They've just recorded over the years because they've so much self-control. Like, this won't be the end. And I think one more studio album, and then we'll see what happens after that. I think they've got one more album.
It'd be cool if they did another covers album, like another Garage Inc.
Yeah, they could do something like that. But would you guys consider this a concept album? I mean, the theme of it is 72 Seasons is, but
the running theme.
I don't think there's nothing story to make.
I don't think so either. Album. Yeah, but that would be cool. They've never done a concept album, have they?
No.
That's probably the one thing they haven't done.
Well, if they close on a concept album,
what's that?
I didn't think they were a band that could do a concept album.
I reckon they could.
I think they probably could.
I reckon they could.
I mean, maybe they wouldn't want to. I don't know, but I mean, that's probably of a band that is constantly trying to, change things up, and in some ways, I don't know.
They've done everything else.
They have done a lot of things in their career. You could also argue that they really, as a band, in the last say 20 years, they really haven't grown as a band. They've very much stayed like AC/DC. They've stayed in their niche. The last album that they put out that was anything different than anything that we heard before was Saint Anger, and that was a load of crap.
Dave will defend it.
You love that album?
I'm not getting into it.
No, let's not do that one again. That's.
I didn't know you liked that album. I thought
that ground is well too. We don't get. No, fuck. Well, let's not do it. But quickly, we don't get Death Magnetic without Saint Anger. But I think for me, the only thing they haven't done is a concept album. So that'd be interesting. They've done everything else. They played fucking Antarctica. Like, they've done everything else.
Yeah,
that's awesome. A concept album would be cool. Look, for me, just for my final few notes on this one, for those wanting what was done in the first 4 albums, they haven't been that band since 1990, over 30 years ago. So I think people need to really get over that argument. It's stale, old, and stupid. If you want that stuff, good news, though. Overkill released their new album, Scorched, on the same day. So if this doesn't hit the spot for you, go and check that out, because everyone I'm hearing talking about that goes, yes, I love it. They want that old thrash stuff. go and check out the new Overkill album. My point here is that there is too much good music out there to go and check out to waste your time hot taking away online about how much you hate a thing. Okay, if you in this context have a conversation because we're fans talking about it because we're fans, but to waste your time getting in the comment sections and going, this album sucks, they're fucking not good anymore, bro. Really? There's so much good music out there. Go and fucking find something you love. Seriously, the hot take brigade, it's been done. Like, what are you going to say that hasn't been said at this point in time? Get over it.
And just clarify, I wasn't hating on this.
No, I get it.
It hasn't grown on me yet. It hasn't grown. No, I know. It hasn't grown on me yet. So, as Dave said, give us some more listens. You said give us some more listens. I'll give us some more spins, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah. And like I said, it may take you a while too. It's one of those ones that I reckon people will come back to in years to come to appreciate more than in the immediate time that it comes out. And I said the same thing about Maiden's latest album as well.
Yeah.
So it's one that people will come back to.
That still hasn't grown on me, really.
Yeah.
I like it, but it's not like it's not my go-to Maiden album.
Yeah. I like it, but I think it's one that people will come back to in years gone by and go, hang on, there's more intricacy here that I appreciated now than at the time of release.
Yeah.
For me, stop the hot taking. It's fucking pointless. This album hits a nice little sweet spot for me. There's still no one really quite like them out there. Even if you don't like this album, between this Hardwired, Death Magnetic, whatever else, there's no one that's really sort of doing what they do either, which is it's remarkable. Whilst they're not growing, like Jeff said, overly much, there's still no one sort of beating them at this game in particular, which for me is still something good for the band. I enjoy it. This is exactly what you want from the band. It's another solid album. I'll be going back to it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. My standards were If Darkness Had a Sun, Crown of Barbed Wire, 72 Seasons, and Inamorata. So there we go. There's some standards for me. I don't think it'll be a top 10 album end of the year, but it's a good solid album for me.
You get 8.5. I gave it 6.5. That's only 2 points.
Yeah, and Dave gave it a 9. So we're not worlds apart from each other, kind of. It's just that no one's giving it a bin.
It's not a bin. Yeah. I mean, no, it's.
I wouldn't give it a 10, but
it's not
definitely
not. Dying in the dead.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm sure we've got some comments to get through. So let me get to some comments here. Conrad says,
"Okay,
sorry."
Yeah, I was wondering if there were comments.
Yeah, here we go. Yep. Conrad says it's a decent, solid record, no complaints. So there we go. TC says solid album, good but nothing great. James sounds great, and the production's better than usual for these guys. For me, there's 4 or 5 good songs, and the rest are unforgettable. Or forgettable. I'm not sure which way that's meant to go there, TC.
Unforgettable.
Go on, Jeff. Dean says, love this album. Was happy they're still producing new music and albums. Definitely this album is more about James, considering he went to rehab before COVID. This could be one of the most darkest personal lyrics James has written, considering the album is about the first 18 years of your life. Love it. Hope for a rescheduled Aussie tour. There we go. Bell says, not a bad album, not a bad moment on this album. Love it all. Nicely done. Lee has chimed in saying $34 on CD from JB Hi-Fi. Nice pickup. Cheers for that, Lee. TC's gone forgettable, it should say. So there we go. Just editing the comment there. Dean says, James' voice sounds like fine wine. It doesn't seem to get weaker at all. The band is on fire and tighter than ever. James said they started doing song ideas over live streams during COVID, and it came together quite quickly. Metallica is back 8.5 out of 10. Well, we're both all at the same page on the scoring there. Lee says, thought maybe his ex-wife had got to Jeff when the audio cut out on you there. So here we go. Bella's chimed in. North Lane had a track on their album from last year called Inamorata as well. Nice to see Metallica following in the footsteps of such greatness. Don't know if I got quite that far, Bella.
Metallica did Nintendo to their sound.
You and I, Bella, we're going to chop that up still. I haven't forgotten. We're going to get to that. But TC says, agree with Jeff totally in this. So, Jeff, you're not alone. See?
Yeah.
Ash has gone monkey magic. So there we go with the comment when the audio cut out. Dean says, my godfather got me into Metallica when they released Death Magnetic. Yes, maybe the youngest here. Since then, I went down the Metallica rabbit hole and bought every album and have been a big fan ever since. Just haven't seen them live. Wow. I don't get the last hate at all. Coming from a drummer that it's so hard to play Metallica songs in general, and it's more on feel than speed. Big influence on my drumming. He even brought back the Black Album toolkit on this album. Didn't know that. That's a good detail. Thanks for that. That's good. That's a good little detail there. Vinny says it would be a decent gateway for any TikTokers looking to get into Metallica. Possibly. But here we go. Here's a counterpoint. Lee's gone 6 listens in, and I still find it overblown. Some great riffs and vocals, but some editing would have saved some of the repetitive feel. Yeah, they're not thrash anymore, but still feel some harking back to their 80s heyday. Will persist, but Overkill released a great thrash opus on the same day to save my soul. So there we go. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Go and listen to something you actually really do.
I'm going to listen to that. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about the album. I haven't checked it out yet personally, but yes, I will definitely check it out. Dean says, Metallica will continue to make albums according to James and Lars. They haven't made their best album yet, and if they did, they wouldn't release any more. So them saying that means more albums to come from the band. The chemistry between James and Lars, you can't deny their powerful minds together. If you can watch the making of Death Magnetic or Hardwired, the way they come up with ideas together is incredible. They have always been fun to watch those two. They are a good band.
I enjoy it. I agree with them. Yeah, I like that.
Conrad says, we'll need some more spins to form an opinion, yet I listened to it in the cinema. It's not crap. So there we go. I thought this album is a concept album. I don't think it is. I think it's got a theme. It's built around the idea of 72 seasons, but yeah.
Yeah.
Lee, probably time Metallica collaborated with a hip-hop artist to increase their mass appeal. Did you miss the one with Swizz Beatz? They did that. They did one with Swizz Beatz. We did it again, I think it was called. That was...
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Bad memory. Dave just came back in his head.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking horrifying.
We did it again.
Tried to black it out, walk it out.
Yeah, that's like a bonus feature on the some kind of monster documentary DVD, I think.
Yeah. I think it was around the same
time. It wasn't in the studio. It was just fucking Lars.
No, but it was a soundtrack piece, I think it was.
Yeah, for some movie with Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one. But yeah, so that's that one. But I do have to go to YouTube and check out on the comments over there. So we do have some to scroll through here. So I can't pull them up on screen, but just quickly here, we got there. So Nicole says we're all getting back to the getting older and going to gigs. Nicole says we're all getting older. Say the 80s, a lot of change priorities. Oh, that's when people are getting. We did that one. Sorry. Michael says taking my nephew to a Metallica gig at Rod Laver Arena. The look on his face when he got a concept of the amplification he was about to experience at his first concert ever can't be beat. That's a cool one, Michael. Thanks for sharing that. That would be awesome to see a young person seeing that amp stack for the first time, like the speaker stack. That would be cool. That's a photo you want, for sure. Rowan said dying at Megadeth would actually be ironic. Are you listening to Alanis Morissette? Rightio. But Dave, Edge Crusher said that Avantasia gig was unbelievable. So you go, getting some more love there for that one. I'm not sure what this one went into in the context, but lucky you weren't prairie dogging it. Came from Darren. Anyway, Nicole says John English, Air Supply, and Jamiroquai. There are loads of music to listen to, even Loggins and Messina. Nice. Well done, sharing some more out there stuff too. Sally says, where'd it go? Fuck, thing went to shit on me. I like country music. You're not alone, Jeff. Chris Stapleton is so talented, he stops you in your tracks. There we go. Some more love for country there.
Yep.
Rowan says, my favorite non-metal music, Björk, especially the early albums, Spears 1000 Forms of Fear, and 80s, 90s Commodore 64 game music. Okay, cool. Björk is interesting. Army of One is one of my favorite tracks of hers. I reckon that's really cool too. Nicole has something on vinyl. I'm not sure which one it is. It's going to comments. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, Michael says loved War of the Worlds when it came out, which is cool. That's how far back we're going in the YouTube comments here. But in the context of the Daryl Braithwaite saga there, Jeff, Rowan says if Daryl Braithwaite can be convinced not to sing Horses, that might be worth $400. I'm glad I dug into this comment section. Darren also said, haven't got the album yet, but the songs I've had a great favorite so far is If Darkness Had a Sun. Back to the Metallica stuff here. Michael says CD is a cool package. Love the design for 72 Seasons. Cover is a great example of design. It is a very cool looking album cover. But Darren also said silence is golden, Jeff.
It was when my mic wasn't working. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I guess it paid off in the end. Michael also said, think the track order is great. The opening tracks cater to old farts who are overhyped. To hear the album, my vote is sonically sounds great. Nicole says, I love Metallica, but I struggled listening to this one. Probably won't try again. I think they're done for me. There we go. We're getting other people that are feeling the other way. It is very much one of those albums. Rowan says, in the 80s and 90s, when we bought an album, we had to listen to it 1,000 times, so I gave every album a chance. Now, if an album doesn't appeal on a couple of listens, we just move on, which is very, very true.
It's because there's so much music out there.
That's it. We're spoiled, and it's so accessible now. We're not just sort of burning money at the wick now. Sally says, I'm what Nick calls a Metallica. I have only ever heard the album twice so far. I'm eager to listen again. Don't get me wrong, but I have to say I did notice the length of the songs, which is fair enough too. Edge Crush says, I haven't liked a Metallica album since Justice. Well, guess what? I've not put this down since release date. I'm really enjoying this album. Maybe I'm finally mellowing with age. That's an unusual comment. Yeah. That's really cool. You don't get a lot of that. That's a nice one. Thanks for sharing that one, Edge Crusher. I'm sorry that the YouTube comments took forever to get through, but that one, that's a cool. I like that one a lot. That's a good one. That really flips things on its head too. That's a nice one. Don't get a lot of that. That's really cool. Rowan said, Metallica War of the Worlds album, please. Now that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. But Michael says, hey.
Didn't they call that Lulu?
Wow, Dave.
That would be awesome. Metallica doing War
This
of the
is where I
Worlds.
mute Dave permanently for the rest of the show. No, I won't do that. Michael says, hey, look, if you want to listen to Garth Brooks instead of 72 seasons, ... So that's what we've got there.
I just might.
Yeah, well, maybe you will. And Darren on Facebook says, if Metallica played faster songs, they would go for a respectable 4 minutes instead. Hey, that's cool. If you double timed it, that's not a bad idea. So that could be a possible outcome there as well. Nice point there, Darren. All righty. That's the major parts of tonight's episode finally gotten through. So with that said, there's a few bits and pieces here before we get out of here and get to a bit and that sort of stuff that I know it's late. Actually, people are sticking with us tonight, which is really cool. So thanks for everyone for sticking around. There are a few little announcements to get into the tail end of things here. I know it's late, and I'm probably going to have to do something about that and clip this or make it more well-known later on. But there's a few bits and pieces here to fill everyone in on as we get back into the swing of things for the rest of the year. So first things first, we're back to normal next week. We're going to be doing the next battle series will be the concept album. We did a post the other day about concept albums, and I'm going to go through and tally all the votes up and see where the top 10 are. And if there's any tiebreakers, I'll do some more polling for that. And so over the next sort of few days or over the weekend or whatever I can do, I'll be starting to knock all that together so we can all sort of sit down and start getting into our concept album King of the Rift battle series starting next week. We're also going to pick up where we left off with the building the thrash band, as well. We've got the lead guitarist and the vocalist to go. That's coming back in next week. So yeah, we're all getting back into the swing of things next week. There are some format changes I'm going to investigate. We'll see how we go with that. It won't be an immediate thing, but there are some things. I'll get to that in a second. But we do have some good news that came through today, which Dave, you don't even know about yet. I got from the network today, Channel 31 in Melbourne. Like I say, make sure you check us out on TV, by the way. We are on 10:30 p.m. on Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide and 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne. And from Channel 31 in Melbourne, I got the email today saying we have just received our December ratings. It takes a while for the ratings to come through. We've just received our December ratings, and I'd like to congratulate you for placing in our list of the top 10 programs. In December, the Hard Rock Show was the 4th highest rated program on Channel 31, averaging an audience across December of just under 25,000 people. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I think that's the highest we've peaked for a while. So for those watching the show in December, thank you very much. We have hit the top 10 before a few times over the years. We used to be a staple there. But hitting number 4, I don't think we've gotten that high. So that's a credit to everyone watching this. So thank you so much for that and for spreading the word. That's really cool. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that today. It just came through this afternoon. So yeah, that's really, really cool, hitting that sort of target and getting to that in December last year, which is, an interesting time of year to do things well, because there was a lot of sort of older content in that sort of block as well, which is nice. So thank you everyone for tuning in and making us one of the top 10 rated shows on the network. Again, we do appreciate it. We love getting little feathers in the cap like that. So yeah, it's awesome to be able to share that with you all there as well. All righty. Now on to the thing that sort of closes the circle on the episode overall. I started by talking about how I spent some time in Queensland. I'm going to be basically letting everyone know that I'm going to be spending a lot more time in Queensland. Some people know, like the crew, obviously family, friends, and Jeff and other people know as well, Patreon supporters know that my wife and I have decided to move to Queensland. We're going to be doing that in a few months. And it's a case of we're empty nesters pretty much. And if we got an opportunity that was just too good to pass up, we don't have a whole lot holding us here because we can do everything remotely. So we'll still be doing. I have plans to come back to Melbourne very often, so I'm not going to be bailing, and it's not going to change the format or change the way we do things. Everything we do nothing's going to change. It's just that I'll be based in Queensland. So what that means is that in the month of August in particular, it'll be a bit haphazard because that's when I'm moving up there. Jodie's been moving a lot of stuff back and forth in July, and then in August I'll go up. My brother's wedding is in August as well, so my whole scheduling is going to go right to the shithouse through August. So August will be a bit hit and miss. But around that, we're going to be also, while I'm going to Queensland, and that I'm building a house basically up there with my brother-in-law. So we've got a plot of land on a nice acreage, and we're going to start doing some stuff there. We've got a nice space away from everyone. And we're at a point in our lives where it's just a good opportunity to get out of the hustle and bustle and sort of get someplace a bit quieter. And the goal, if it all goes to plan, because the way we're doing things greatly reduces the output financially, is that I could really hopefully make a red hot crack of making a go at working on the show full time again, which would be really, really cool if I can make that happen. So to that end, I'm going to do something different. Starting next month, not this month, starting next month, I'm going to try and make it work out. We're going to attempt to do things like a monthly raffle, I should say, where I'm going to dig through some stuff here that I've had kicking around for donkeys that I've got to clear some space, but there's a lot of stuff that's been sitting here that just would be cool to give away. But there's also going to be some custom stuff incorporated that I'll be crafting with the laser engraver and all that kind of stuff that I've got going on here as well. So I'll be doing some monthly raffles. Be the standard thing where it's $2 a ticket or $5 for 3, that kind of nonsense. For people on Patreon, you're already included, so don't worry about it. You're automatically included in the mix. That said, if you want to jump in, I'm not going to say no, but it's a case of that. That's the way we're going to be doing that sort of stuff. So between that, I'm going to be also doing a bit of an overhaul with Patreon. I was talking to Dave before that might change things up a bit. So, for example, the classic album we do every week, I'm thinking about doing that as a separate standalone piece of content where we can do sort of 4 or 5 albums as a block and film it, Dave. You and I will film it, or whoever else wants to jump in, we'll film it. And then we'll release it later on. But while we're filming it, we might live stream it to the Patreon crowd, for example, so they can watch and jump in with commentary as we go through the classic albums. Just some ideas kicking around. I want to bring some interviews back into things. So I might be doing interviews as part of the live streams every week. There's some ideas I want to try out and just see what sort of where things land and bounce around and try some things out and get back to doing newer stuff as well, because I feel like we've missed a lot of the newer music this year, Dave, in particular, compared to other years as well. So I'd like to get back to it. There's some things I like to try and do. So going to shake up the content a bit. The way we do things isn't going to change. It's a matter of what goes into them. So weekly live streams is always going to be a thing, except maybe in August. That might be tough. but we're doing other stuff around that for sure. But that said, there's also going to be this little thing here, which I've worked out. I don't know how this is going to work in this, but I'm going to do something really silly now. But in here, yeah, I've got it working. You've got like a little PayPal QR code, which is like a tip jar for us. So I've got a tip jar thing, which is just completely wiped out Jeff's face right now. So my apologies to Jeff. It's just completely superimposed him. But that QR code is like a tip jar where you can just sort of jump in there. Because, Jeff, you suggested a while ago being able to put into what was it, the super chat side of things. I can't quite do that yet. I haven't got that. We have to get watch hours up on YouTube for that to be a thing. So I haven't got to that level yet where we can do it, but I can do this. I can put a QR code on a screen. So if you want to send us a tip, please do. You don't have to. It's not an obligation. It's just something that I'm going to try and incorporate, that if you want to help us out just randomly, that's one thing there. That'll be also how you get into doing things like the raffles and that sort of stuff using the QR codes. I've got it all sort of worked out behind the scenes, but I'll announce things like the raffle and that in the coming weeks as well. And yeah, that's basically the announcements. There's a bit going on. As I just said, there's a bit there to get through. Yeah, it's just one of those things where if I can make it work, the idea now is I'm going to overhaul a few things between now and when I actually move. So but if I can make it all happen the way I want it to happen, then the objective would be for me to work full time on the show while working around the hobby farm that I'll be on as well up in Queensland. So I'll have a lot more time on my hands to get more done, which will hopefully mean other options will come up too, because we always get emails for interviews and that from international artists and that, but we can never make it work because there's never anyone available to do it because we've all got to work, or by the time we get home, we're all fucked after work and that kind of stuff. So it's a bit of a burden. But if I can be on the show full time again, then I'll be able to sort of put more of that sort of stuff out there as well. So there's a lot to be gained if we can sort of make it work between now and then, which would be really, really cool. But we'll see how it all works out. I'm just going to try a few things and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, we can always go back to what we're doing now, and it's just as fine. There's nothing's going to stop. It's just a case of going to try a few things and see if we can put more into it overall. So that's a little bit of an update for people out there just watching us and for sticking with us for this long tonight as well. So thank you for your time and for your patience with it all getting there as well. We've got some comments. What do we got here? Lee says, get along to Bendigo Hotel on Saturday night for Metal United Down Under, Outlaw, Sabaya, Wicked Smile, and Bengal Tigers. That's a fucking good lineup. That's a really good lineup. Fucking wow. Okay, cool. I'll take that. Darren says, how about a Bon Voyage live show with an auction? Okay. Haven't done that. Don't know how I would do that, to be honest. What would I give away for an auction? That'd be interesting. But yeah, that's an interesting idea, Darren. I don't know if I'd be able to do it straight away, but something to definitely think about. Here we go. Vinny says, next minute, Andrew, we're conducting Queensland rugby tutorials. I can say that now. Nah. That's not, if it was AFL, maybe, but rugby, not so much. The idea of running forward while throwing a little backwards, I enjoy the game, but it's not quite as entertaining as other ones out there. Bash says, congratulations, THS, on your ratings. You all deserve these accolades and more. Been listening to to music shows since the early 60s, and this is the best. Wow. Thank you so much for your kind words. So that's some really high praise. Yeah, greatly, greatly appreciate it. You must have heard some cracking shows over the years. So, yeah, definitely thank you for those very, very kind words. Over on YouTube, we had Nicole says, woohoo, well done, boys, when I announced the ratings. Same with Darren saying, well, awesome stuff, guys. Michael says, well deserved. Thank you so much for that. And Rowan gave us a hand clap. But Nicole said, welcome to the state. And yeah, I figured you'd say that as well. She says, your closest rugby team would be the Dolphins. It probably would be actually up there. It's actually kind of fitting. They're the newest team, so it might work. Rowan says, I'll bid $20 for Andrew's golden locks. They ain't golden. They go more grey than brown these days. So yeah, I don't know about that. What do we got here? Lee says, auction a day to spend with Dave and his family going roller skating.
No, my daughter will just fuck up your Spotify.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the overall thing there. So for those that are following me on my personal accounts, which anyone can, Instagram or Twitter in particular. I don't really do a lot of Facebook friend requests, but if you want to follow me, I've got Instagram and Twitter accounts you can look at. I'll be putting updates of the build and that and the general goings on, so you can all sort of see if you're interested. If you're not, that's just as fine. You come here to watch the hard rocks, you're not to watch me build a fucking hobby farm. So
hard build a house show.
Yeah, well, what is that? Oh, the beach house? I don't know, the rock house. We'll call it the rock house. No, I won't, because Jody will kill me. But yeah, that's what's going on, folks. So I'll be heading to Queensland in a little bit as well. What have we got here? Roseanne gave you the clap from Darren. No, it should be Rowan. Yeah, Rowan. Roseanne. No, Rowan gave us a clap. Yes, that was the. I can't pull it up on the screen, unfortunately. Yeah, there's a little clappy emoji going on there. And over on the other commentary side of things, Vinny says the Collingwood Dolphins would be a hard sell, Andrew. Yeah, it would be a hard sell. I'm not going to even try. All right. We are getting long in the tooth tonight. It's been a really fun session, though. It's a bit different tonight. We wanted to do something a bit light, a bit easy on. Back again next week with our usual stuff. Before we get out of here, though, we do have to feed the bin. As always, it is kind of a requirement for proceedings. So, Dave, let's go to you first. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm sure you got plenty off the chest.
Mm-hmm. This is the important stuff right now.
Yes.
7-Eleven now have paper straws for your Slurpee. There was a time when you could just sit back and enjoy you're Slurpee. Now it's a race against time before your fucking paper straw melts and goes all floppy.
It turns
You
into
gotta go home
mush.
and get a real fucking straw from home. So paper straw Slurpees in the bin.
Only the big issues. Only the hard-hitting issues here on the Hard Rock Show. All right, Jeff, what have you got?
Well, I got a couple things. Now, this might seem kind of petty. I don't know. So over
After a paper straw, yours is going to
well,
seem
yeah, you have a point. You do have a point. Because in paper straw, like if you got like like those ice cream floats, sometimes they put a paper straw in there. If it's there long enough, it turns to mush and like bits of the pieces of paper going up, and you're chewing it and going, "What the fuck is that?" And it's like pieces of the straw.
It's a new way to spitball.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Trouble is, you haven't got the straw to blow it out of anymore.
Yeah. So in
fucked.
effort to save the planet by eliminating plastics, they thought of a great idea. Let's kill more fucking trees.
Yes.
Fucking hell. Brilliant job.
Put on a cup with a plastic lid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. So, but my bin is it's kind of petty, I think. But I'm gonna say it anyway. So over Easter, I was having a conversation with some friends, and I said, happy holidays. And that was it. It was fucking World War III. How dare I call it holidays, not call it Easter? So I decided to give somebody a well-earned lesson that they deserve. First of all, holiday is short for holy day. So when someone says happy holidays, it's actually saying happy holy day. So I'm not putting your fucking religion down. And when you say Easter, Easter is this, Easter that. Easter was a pagan holiday, and it's actually from the fertility goddess Oestra, where we get estrogen from, where we get, Easter bunny and eggs and all that whole fertility thing. So Easter has nothing to fucking do with anything Christianity. They stole it. That's in the fucking bin. Sorry. I had to say it because it really pissed me off. How dare you say happy holidays? Not, I've heard it around Christmas and you hear it around Easter. Fuck off. Know what I'm saying? I'm saying I am respecting your day. Happy holy day. How is that not respectful? I think it's fucking very respectful. Anyway.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I have no fucking life. So this is the things that bother me. So I sit up at midnight going, what can I do for the bin? I know. Yeah.
That'll do.
Anyway, so that's my little tidbit. I just thought I'd educate. Not you guys, but that person. They fucking deserve it.
Yeah. So. If you've got time to worry about that, then I think you've got too much time in your hands, generally speaking, for people.
Correct.
But there's so much more important things to worry about. Speaking of important things to bin, here's mine. First is back pain. That is a serious one. It's fucking annoying. I've been dealing with disc issues for years, and today's one of those days. I was telling the day before where it's just completely flared for no reason. I'm like, oh my God, I'm walking like an octogenarian. It's fucked. It's a permanent thing. It won't go away. It's just what I've got to do to manage it, and some days are better than others. But my actual bin for this week, speaking of the big issues in life, I'm binning Motley Crue. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You got Mick Mars suing the band suing him. And seriously, Nikki Sixx in particular, he can get in the bin. My wife's going to kill me for this. I'm going to sleep on the couch when she watches this one because Nikki Sixx is like a favorite for her. And I'm a fan of Motley Crue. I like him. But Nikki Sixx is getting very holier than thou, going, what if all drugs and alcohol were banned? And it's like, just because you met fucking something you didn't like, fuck off. Or didn't find something you didn't like, sorry. But that and this whole thing where you're worried about Mick Mars is playing, but you've been carrying Vince Neil and his antics for how fucking long now?
Correct.
Including on the farewell tour, getting backing vocalists to walk out from behind the curtain, sing the high notes, and then walk out the back again, while this dickhead is phoning in the lyrics and saying every third word at best. All right? If Mick Mars is your problem, you've got bigger issues than you fucking think, because that's just, what the hell are we doing here? So I love Motley Crue. And as a fan, those fuckwits can get in the bin. This whole thing's a shit show.
Yep.
It's a shit show.
It's turned into one.
dumbest things I've seen for a long time. I'm tired of it. And for that matter, Ace Frehley and Paul Stanley, fuck off in the bin too. Your whole fucking, you owe me an apology or I'm going to fucking spill the dirt. And then there is no fucking dirt. Fuck off.
I know. I was like, what's he going to say? You know, what's he going to say? Yeah, I was hoping and nothing.
And Eddie Trunk for milking it for all it's fucking worth. The lot of you, fuck off. In the bin. All of you. Just because, fuck. What are we
going to
doing?
need a bigger bin soon, I think.
I need a fucking dumpster. I'm going to take on women to Queensland. I've got room there for it, so that'll be all right.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. Everything you said was spot on too. It's all, you know, just to get fucking clicks. And I'm sure Motley Crue is, you know, they're just going to ham this up because, you know, the more their name is being mentioned, the more fucking tickets they're going to sell to their concerts and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the wrestling promo of the music world.
Yeah,
and I think poor Mick is copping it personally.
Yeah, and I think that's really hard because, like, hang on, let me talk about this because Vince Neil killed someone. Tommy Lee's an addict. Sorry, not Tommy Lee. Nikki Sixx is an addict, and Tommy Lee. Well, what can you say about Tommy Lee that's positive? To be honest, not a lot. Out of all the people in the band, Mick Mars, what can you say bad about the bloke?
Yeah, he no controversies. He's never, you know, he just doesn't do shit.
Yeah,
you know,
he
like
plays
bad
guitar
stuff.
And he goes away.
Correct.
And now they're hanging him out to dry. Out of all the things, you're hanging him out to dry. And I'm not saying, and you know what, I'm sure there's both ways on this one, but at the same time, it's like from a pure optics point of view, it's like, really, that's the one you want to hang out to dry after all the years of shit you've done.
Yeah, you know, so Motley Crue, if those people don't know, Motley Crue is an LLC. They are a business, right? Yeah. So you've got 100% between the four members, right? So you got Nikki getting 25, you got Tommy 25, Vince 25, and Mick. Mick says, "Hey, I want to step away. I don't want to tour anymore. It's too rough. Whatever. Fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. So
dealing with a serious illness too.
Absolutely. Like, you know, for years, you know, he come out of retirement to do this. And then he, you know, and now he's like, okay, I've had enough. I want to actually spend the last 10 years of my life or whatever in relative fucking peace and harmony without having to, you know, the rigors of the road. So then now they're going to say, okay, Mick, we're dropping you down from 25%, you know, fair quarter to 5%. And so what that means is the other fucking 15%, that's 5 in Nikki's pocket, 5 in Vince, and 5 in Tommy's. And then you bring in John 5, which John 5's got to get paid. Yeah. What's he going to get paid? You know, they brought in John 5 to replace him. So it's not, it shouldn't be coming at a mixed fucking portion. No, it becomes out of their portion. They're the ones who fucking brought him into play. Yep. So they're the ones who got to pay him.
And this is after they said, we're not doing anything anymore. We're done. We're retiring. They blew everything up and fucking said it's all done. They had a massive press conference saying, we're not going to be like Kiss and have any fucking farewell tours.
Oh, yeah. They got lawyers. They fucking signed it in blood. I mean, it's all bullshit.
It's fucking pot calling kettle black here. And this is why I'm having a particular go at Nikki Sixx, because his particular antics and him spouting off is like, what the fuck, dude? Shut up, you hypocrite.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I think you're right. You hit it right on the head. I've been following this very closely as well. And he's a douchebag.
He's coming across like a dick now. Like, it's just fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, that's my point of view. People can disagree. My wife's going to disagree. She's going to watch this and going to go, what the fuck are you talking about? I'll be sleeping on the couch. That's what's going to happen to me. But speaking of sleeping on the couch, we've got to get out of here. But I'll go through the final comments here before we get out of here. Elliot, good to see you. He's going, my wife loves country music but loves the show, so well done. Thank you very much for that. It's actually kind of cool. It's cool because one of my daughters actually loves country music as well. So I've actually had a conversation with this at work today too. Country music seems to be a flavor at the moment. So there's a lot of people enjoying it, which is cool. Like, whatever makes you happy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and shit on people. Whatever makes you happy, just fucking enjoy it. More of that. More power to you. Whatever you enjoy, go and do it. Life's too short to bitch and moan. Like, I say that after doing the bin and ranting about fucking Motley Crue for 10 minutes. But anyway, Vinny says, harden up. There's no calories in paper straws.
Yeah. No.
Well, that's true.
Fair point.
Lee says, better send police patrol around to Jeff's house. His ex-wife and friends are forming their alliance as we speak. Hey, get the surveillance cameras out. Yeah. Dean says, that whole crew issue, what the fuck is happening? Well, yeah, you fucking, I don't know, man. Bella says, I put Motley in the bin back in 87. They are keeping Poison company in there. Well put, Belle.
Poison
Well
sucks
put.
ass.
Well done. You got Jeff going now. Dave's just shaking his head. Dean says, happy holidays is an issue. Are people okay? No, they're really not, mate. But Dean says, feel sorry for Mick. He is bad enough with his personal problems. Neil has a problem for years with his voice, and they go after Mick. What the fuck?
Yeah. Ankylosing spondylitis is what it's called.
Yeah, that's not good either. And Darren says, Dickie sucks. So there we go. Vinny says, my Vinny's going out to dinner the other night and paying nearly $40 for a sausage, some veggies, and sauce. At that rate, I may as well walk around St Kilda with my drawers down. I'll retire in 5 years. Vinny, there's this little thing digitally called OnlyFans. You should explore that. So, well done. Comments galore. Alrighty, what do we got here? What do we got? So Nicole says Collingwood Park up the Magpies up here. Okay, cool, nice. Nicole says Greenie is at work. Have a great weekend, all from Darren. Yes, you too. And then we got Nicole says people are special these days, Jeff, when it comes to complaining. But she also says my husband became disabled due to a back injury. No, it's not a lot of fun, unfortunately. Nicole says we'll need a dumpster up here. We're going to bring one. Sally says yes, crew in the bin. So scratchy and annoying. That's happening. And Nicole says happy birthday to me for tomorrow. Happy birthday for about 8
happy birthday,
now, Nicole. Happy birthday. Really do appreciate you letting us know. And yeah, it's awesome to have you with us. And I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Hopefully you get spoiled and have all the right things and good things coming your way. That is going to be, hopefully generally speaking, hopefully you have a fantastic day and hopefully have a great birthday. It's always good to get those things, be a part of the family, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. Really do appreciate it.
Is there any more room in the bin? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Quickly, there will be. You're welcome, Nicole. Michael says extreme living color tickets might have to cancel food shopping for a few weeks, and that's actually it's funny but not funny at the same time. That sort of a statement, isn't it? It's really where we are in the world at the moment, unfortunately. All right, you want more room in the bin, Jeff? What do you got?
Yeah, I got one last thing. It just came in my head. Okay, so my buddy at work says, "Have you seen the news?" I'm like, "What?" He said, "So in September, the NHL is coming to Rod Laver Arena. Yep. It's going to be the Los Angeles Kings and the Arizona, whatever the fuck they're called. I don't know.
Coyotes? Is it Coyotes?
Coyotes, yes. Thank you. And so I'm like, yeah, fuck, let's go. So tickets were on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So the cheapest tickets were $603.
What?
And the most expensive tickets were $1,500. So we said, fuck you, NHL. We're not going. Fuck that. And They sold out. $603.
Wow, that's nuts.
Well, so apparently they came out in November and they spoke with all the officials and here in Melbourne, and they worked out that Rod Laver is the perfect arena. They can bring everything with them now. They can. Yep. So everything will be official size. Thing that happened a few years back, Canada versus USA, they said it was official arena, but it wasn't. It was much smaller. Like you could get from one end to the other ice in 2 strides. It wasn't the same size.
Yeah.
And I went to that, but $603 on Ticketek, sold out.
Wow. That's nuts.
NHL can get in the bid. That's fucking gouging.
That's nuts.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
$603. Fuck you. I wouldn't pay $603 to see fucking God. So fuck that.
Fair point. I didn't know it was that much. I was looking at going because my daughter wants to go. She wanted to go with me and stuff, but it's like it's going to be the wrong time for me. I'm going to be up north. I'm not going to be able to come back that soon after getting everything settled up there. So it's like not going to work this time around. But fuck, I didn't know that was that expensive. Fuck, man, that's nuts.
Yeah. I was all gung-ho until I saw the price. I'm like, I can't. Wow. I mean, I could afford it, but really.
Yeah, that's not justifying it's different though to affording.
Yeah, and two teams that I don't really give two flying
exactly. They're not the team I follow, so I'm not going to. If it was my team, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a small market team, so it's not going to happen ever anyway. But
apparently, the plan is to just make this a first of one-off, and it's going to be just over and over and over again. They're just going to keep doing it.
So hopefully, it gets cheaper in the future. Not fucking more.
I hope it gets cheaper as well, but it won't if it just keeps selling out at that price.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my. I'm sorry to add more to
No,
it.
I agree. I agree.
That's my bin. That was fucking crap. So I'm pissed off. I'm not going.
Yeah, no, I agree. Vinny says, yes, Jeff, I'm going. Quickly followed by, oh, fuck that then. NHL, follow me to St Kilda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Dean said that's fucked up ticket price as it is, and he was saying, I was looking forward to going, but that's fucked. Yeah, none of us are going at that cost. And yeah, Nicole says that's freaking nuts. NHL binned. And Rowan says, I'd pay $603 if God stopped Daryl Braithwaite from singing horses. So I think on that note, that's a good place to wrap it up. We'll get out of here and we'll see you all again as usual, same time and place next week. Thank you all so much for joining us. Our details are in the description box of this episode. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share it around. Give us some thoughts and all that sort of stuff as you do tune in later on. Or if you're watching live, thank you for your time. If you're watching or listening later on, we do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for putting it with us. Hopefully, you've entertained and informed you in some little way, and given you that little pre-weekend sort of bump that you need on a Thursday night. Big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details are just like ours in the description box. Please like and follow them as well if you can. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Like I said, going to be a bit of an update there shortly as well. And just anyone that's sort of jumped in tonight, thank you so much. We had a lot of people here tonight, so it's been really, really cool. Big welcome back, and we're back again with more same time and place next week with just more of our usual stupidity. Until then, though, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Jeff.
As always, folks, you know what to do.
Drink up.
And rock on.
Ta-da.
And listen to country music, apparently.
Yeah. Hey, Garth is good, man. Garth is good.
On that note, let's go.
Speak.